Bubbles of info. Bubbles of fun. Bubbles of music. Ever wonder why these people do the Macarena? Or who styles Tina's hair? Well, find out on VH1's Pop-Up Video. Fun-filled facts packed into your favorite videos. Only on VH1. Pop-Up Video. Pop-Up Video.
Understanding him is hard. Controlling him...
Promise me you'll stay right here?
...may be impossible.
Oh my God!
From the director of Wayne's World, Chris Farley, David Spade.
So what do you want to do today?
No, 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 no! Black Sheep.
Promise me you'll stay in the car.
Free minutes was good.
5 free minutes was great.
But 10 minutes free with my psychic is even better. My psychic told me not to worry. So I went back to school and now I've got a great job. Now that's a true friend.
Talking about true friends, 10 minutes free is where it's at.
Now that's for me.
She knew that my boyfriend Donald was scared of commitment. But the advice she gave me turned the tables. And now he's begging me for attention.
Get 10 minutes free. Call 1-900-454-1143.
You asked for it, you got it. All new episodes of your favorite TV show. VH1's 8-track flashback. More classic hits from the 70s, sung by the original stars.
He walks in the teacup all day long.
VH1's 8-track flashback. It's a TV show. Only available on VH1.
Oh, I've been looking forward to this one. What's going on, guys? Welcome to your WWE Hour, I should say, WWF WrestleMania 4 Watch Along. Sorry about the 15-minute delay. I postponed the stream a little past the hour because we did a members-only watch along today that I had planned for a WCW Nitro episode, but I didn't realize that Nitro episode was 3 hours long, not 2, which meant the stream ran longer than I was expecting, and I needed just an hour break in between streams to have myself a sandwich and to regroup and reconvene and get ready for this stream here. So I apologize for the late start on this. Plus, according to Peacock, we have a 3-hour and 33-minute show ahead of us here, so we are not going to waste too much time. We're going to try to hit play here in just a couple of minutes. That way, for those of you who have to work on Monday mornings and you might live on the East Coast and it's kind of late, I don't want to keep you guys up too late. But if you live over here on the West Coast like me, no big deal. It's only 5:23 in the afternoon and we got all night ahead of us. So this should be fun. I have lots of memories, which I will begin to share with you as we go through and start watching this WrestleMania, because it was a big one, man. Let me say hello to everyone that's here in the chat that's been hanging out and waiting. Again, I apologize for the 15-minute delay. Good to see Zane G, Ray Frand, We Are Pro Wrestling. Very glad you're here, although I think I might have my facts pretty straight on this WrestleMania. We'll see what we can use you for. Ray Frand, happy you're here. Zach Pelgett, welcome back. Tatanani, a lot of you guys were here. Fox Star Killer as well. Michael Kumo, the Juliet, were here earlier for our Monday Nitro watch-along where we watched Lex Luger beat Hulk Hogan. It was pretty fun. Good to see William in the house. We also have Dale Campbell, Crazy J, Maka International, Andy Linnell, Colin Wright, Zombie Fighter 89. Nice to see you. Joe Brill in the house as well. And we've got some super chats. Let's knock out George Morris. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you for the $5 as always. Hey, Greg, how are you doing? And how is Tito? WrestleMania 4, 10 out of 10. Remember watching this when I was 8 years old. Where were you watching? Be safe. I have a big story about where I was, and I'll share that with you. I was 11, and Tito is doing marvelously. He's right underneath my feet right now, prepared to be in sleep hibernation mode, because he knows when I start streaming, he usually takes a nap. But we are great in this house today, George. I'm ready for WrestleMania 4, and I will share with you what I was doing, what age I was, and where I watched this show. I have talked about it before, but it's been a while since I've talked about my WrestleMania 4 experience. Michael Cuomo, appreciate the $5 from you, dude. I hate that Peacock cut out the WWF What the World is Watching intro leading to the slot machine. That would get me hyped. They did. That sucks, man. I'm so bummed out. I am so bummed out. I got something funny to show you guys later as well. This will be a show and tell. Ronnie is in the house. Good to see you, my friend. I have stuff for you. Let me see. Victor Colon, good to see you as well. K-Dog's Kennel is back. We've got WWE Fan for Life. Ben Espinoza. MJ Parker is back in the house as well. Good to see you. Coney Lane. Anybody else just chiming in now? Good to see you. Welcome. Thank you for joining us for our classic WWF pay-per-view watch-along. We do these every Sunday, provided there's not a pay-per-view or a Super Bowl or something else. Of course, next week we will not be here because it is Super Bowl Sunday, but we will be watching WrestleManias every Sunday leading up to WrestleMania between now and then. So we will start talking about which ones to do as we as we kind of hang out tonight, and we'll give that some more thought. For those of you just joining, or who have not joined us before, we watch all of our pay-per-views on Peacock. That's by far and away the best way for us all to follow along together. So in just a couple of seconds here, we will all hit play together. The timer above my head will start to run, and you just got to sync up to the timer. If I experience an interruption or you experience an interruption or something happens and you want to follow along, just make sure your Peacock matches the timer above my head and everything will work just fine. I'm looking forward to this. So hopefully, during this time, you've gone over to Peacock, pulled up the WrestleMania tab. You want to look for Season 4, Episode 1, Season 4 for WrestleMania 4. According to Peacock, the hour or the runtime on this is 3 hours, 33 minutes, and 55 seconds. Just get all your zeros across the board there, and we're going to do a countdown from 3, and we're going to hit play together here in just 1 second as I get my hands queued up for this. I'm going to put one finger on the timer, one finger on the play button, and we're going to do it together. Hope you guys are ready to rock. Sorry, we're kind of hitting play a little bit early here, but like I said, I don't want to keep you guys up too late for those of you who may have to wake up in the morning. So hopefully you guys got your fingers ready to rock, and we will hit play together. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, play. Nice. Almost undefeated. Hey, wait a minute. They might still be doing it. Look. Who said that they didn't do this? Oh, no, it just says WrestleMania. Oh, yeah, the signature intro is what they removed. All right, here we go. 19 seconds into WrestleMania 4. Live Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino, Atlantic City, New Jersey. Very weird venue for a WrestleMania, especially after them putting nearly $100K in the Silverdome the previous year. And there's Mean Gene. Oh, yeah, I think that's Gladys Knight. By the way, cheers. Got my trusty 805. I'm taking a break from the Stellas. I think I'm going to go with these 805s for a while. They're easy to drink. I like them. They don't fuck me up. Mean Gene was on our Nitro episode earlier on today. Gladys Knight. How can you not love Gladys Knight? Next year, they would do Rockin' Robin would do America the Beautiful. I like her jacket. All right, so Gladys Knight is singing America the Beautiful, which I like. We Are Pro Wrestling also had the first and I think only 2 VHS release for a Coliseum, and also the first and I think only 2 VHS release for a Coliseum video. You're right, We Are Pro Wrestling. Are you guys ready to see something fucked up? So sad. So sad. Dun 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 dun. 2-box set, WrestleMania 4, but look at it. Are you ready for this? Watch. What happened? Goddamn, what happened to my WrestleMania 4? Look, and it opens up, and Hogan's in the middle, and it folds back down, and it smells like shit. So when I moved into this house a couple of years ago, something spilled on this. I don't know what. I think it was a soda, but it has taken off, like, the enamel or whatever on this VHS box, and it stinks. I can smell like the underneath glue or whatever, and something happened. I ruined it. So I am currently bidding on one right now on eBay. There's a bunch of them available on there that I could buy it now, but the one that was in the best quality is not a buy it now. It's an auction, and the bids are pretty low. So I'm watching it. I'm going to wait till the last minute and just try to outbid the guy as the timer runs down and try to get myself a new copy of this to go on my shelf, because this thing is fucking pathetic. Maybe when I get the new WrestleMania 4 copy, if anybody wants this, I can't imagine you would. The tapes themselves are still in great condition, as you can see. Nothing wrong with these. I'll give this shit away if you want. I don't know if you'd want the smelly box, but if anybody wants my busted-ass WrestleMania 4, I'll give it away in a stream once the new one arrives. But I was going to have this out. I was going to pull it out and sit it right here, and I completely forgot that I did notice I had an issue. I want to say it was like a soda or something spilled in to a couple of VHS tapes, and everything was fine because I think it was mostly DVDs, but this one got ruined. What can you do? And it fucking stinks. Anyway, here we go. Battle Royal. Oh, Jesse's happy he doesn't have to talk with McMahon. He's happy to be here with Gorilla. This is low-key one of my favorite duos because they would usually only work WrestleManias. 3, 4, 5, and 6 was all Jesse and Gorilla. And here they come. Look at that trophy. Sam Houston, Rougeau's, Bad News, Ken Patera, Outlaw Ron Bass. Who else we got coming? I mean, this was only the second time the Battle Royal was held at WrestleMania. 2 and 4 is when they did it. And I thought it was a really cool thing to open with because this whole WrestleMania was built around the tournament. So you didn't have a lot of issues here. Honky and Beefcake and Hogan and Andre in the tournament. Oh, yeah, Vanna White's here tonight, by the way. Bob Uecker's back 2 years in a row. Doug, unfunny, you better not find my WrestleMania bid on it. The bid's really low right now. It's like $16. I'll pay as much as $40 for this. I'm cool with that. And there are some for $40 on eBay right now, but they're not as in good condition as the one that's being auctioned. So I'd like to get a snazzy piece. But, man, you come under me and outbid me for that. I should have kept my mouth shut, Doug, unfunny. One way or the other, I'll get myself a new WrestleMania 4 VHS. Even if you do outbid me, I'll get myself another one, man. I don't care. I'll take the challenge. Bob Uecker is hilarious. It was crazy to see the championship vacant. Holy shit, how easy? Oh, here we go. Here's the introductions. Let's watch these. You did meet a lot of people. Holy crap. I'll get back to that. You met Ryback? Are you crazy? Look at the young stallions. Sika. Sika, y'all. Dangerous Danny. Yeah, there is. Sam Houston. Crazy to see Sam Houston. Yeah, Bloodline. Sika is Roman Reigns' dad. JYD. I saw a report from bodyslam.net. I had no idea that Umaga's son spent the last 7 years in prison. Holy shit. Aggravated robbery. Apparently he's out. Interested in wrestling. King Harley Race was kind of crazy to see in this too because he had been absent. Or he wasn't, excuse me, he wasn't absent. JYD was absent for a while. King, Harley Race, and JYD are both in this match. And to me, that tripped me out because they wrestled, they had a feud the previous year and worked at WrestleMania 3 for the crown. And Race won. And then JYD got suspended or something after that. It's the final day of cut down in spring training. I'm glad that Uecker is sitting in for this. And there's George the Animal Steel with his furry shirt. Billy Martin. While these guys are battling, I'll be back in 10 seconds. Sorry about that. When I was handling that VHS box, whatever the fuck is on it stinks. I had to wash it off my hands. So I don't know if I want to give that thing away. Something's wrong with it. Maybe I'll give you the tapes, but not the box. So Animal Steel, we can't figure out if he ever got in the ring or if he got eliminated, but I don't think he ever got in. Yeah. Out goes Danny Davis. Is Trump in the front row? Yes, he is. Trump would be in the front row for this one and WrestleMania 5 the next year. About 150 pounds lighter than he is now. And I'm pretty sure that's Ivanka with him, who recently passed away, right? He would go on to marry Marla Maples after that. What a scumbag. I have to look at this fucker's face the whole time. Ugh. Zane G, appreciate it. What's up, dude? Thanks for the $5. Do you think since Jay went missing, with the entire thing being a setup to do a match for the tag titles at WrestleMania 39, I don't think the whole thing is a setup. I don't. But I think, yeah, we're going to get the tag titles at WrestleMania 9, and I think Jay ultimately will choose the Bloodline. But I don't think Jay is acting. I think he legitimately is conflicted. But ultimately he's going to realize, and this is the Anvil's, basically this is the Anvil's last match as a heel. Until the Hart Foundation days. Because what we're going to see in the finish here made me a very happy wrestling fan, because I was already a Bret Hart fan by this point, but he was just in a tag team, so I just kind of admired him from afar. He never really was involved in anything too major other than a tag title situation. And with them dropping the belts to the Strike Force, Harts were kind of directionless around this time. And there's both Killer Bees and Raymond. Shout out to Raymond. I'm a Raymond Rougeau mark. It's funny how the Harts, the Hart Foundation, Bret's wearing his black part over the pink trunks. Normally you'd put that black onesie thing on, I guess, and cup your balls, right? And then you'd pull the pink trunks over it. But they got them reversed here. Sometimes they would switch it up, the Harts, but it does look a little strange. Nice backbreaker on Jimmy Powers, and there's Outlaw Ron Bass and George Steele. All that hair on George Steele is a fucking trip. B40, you were at this Mania? Shit, man, how old are you? Were you? Or are you? Probably my age. I was at WrestleMania 3, so look at there. Let's get an inventory here. We got Hillbilly Jim, the Bolsheviks, JYD, Danny Davis, Jacques Rougeau, Bret Hart, Ken Patera, Bad News Brown, Jim Powers, Paul Roma. And I think that's it. And Hillbilly's gone. That was my pick. Hillbilly the previous year wrestled King Kong Bundy in the minis match. Oh, B40, you're older than me. 47, damn. You've made a will, right? Do you eat at 4:30? Do you watch Wheel and Jeopardy back to back? And there goes Jimmy Powers. Apparently Roma and Powers did not get along. They were so evenly sized and matched. Strike Force was way better than Young Stallions. What's up, Juggernaut 97? Oh, nice. Oh, you do watch-alongs too? You're going to do some EC watch-alongs. There haven't been enough of those that I've loved to do a watch-along of. That's what the one thing about this channel is. I'm always going to kind of go older, but there may be some newer ones we should do. Nice to see you, Juggernaut. Glad you're here. If anybody else has a channel, say, hey, yo, I got a channel. Go subscribe to me. You're welcome to say that in the chat. I'd rather you not spam us with videos, but in terms of informing us, go for it. Ken Patera would not be in the company much longer either after this. All right, so we got Bad News and JYD, which is a very interesting match. Look at there. Huh. And he got rocked. Nice little callback to their match the previous year. Look at Paul Roma in the Final Four. Oh, he's gone. Roma's gone. And now it's the two Canadian boys, or the Calgary guys. Bad News Allen worked for Stu Hart for a lot of years. Had some wars with Brett, wars with Owen. Terrible bump by Bad News. I like when he would do his running head or his crawling headbutts. There we go. Again, JYD is another guy that would not be around much longer after this. I don't recall seeing much of JYD at all in 1988 other than right here. A big bump by JYD. Look at there. Little Stampede Alliance. I like it. When I was 10 years old, I had no idea that this was a Stampede Alliance, but I think it's pretty cool. He's still trying to fight. Yeah, I mean, this is the only time I ever remember Bad News and JYD having any sort of run-ins. A feud with these two guys a couple of years before this would have been better. Oh, so SummerSlam, Ramon, thank you for that. Oh, yeah, I guess he did wrestle at SummerSlam 88. Yeah. Why can't I remember who JYD worked in 88? Ah. He's out. Maybe it was Boss Man or something. Did he work Boss Man? And there we go. Look out, Brett. Brett, you don't turn your back. Come on, man. You're more seasoned than that. Split the purse money, huh? Boom. The Ghetto Blaster. I don't remember when Michael Kumo, thanks for that $2. I don't remember when Ken Patera got out of prison, but I know he came back to WWF in like 87. They did the whole return angle where Bobby Heenan was happy to see him, and that whole thing imploded and Ken became a babyface. Ooh, that was in 87 at some time. But I'm not sure exactly when he was out of prison. What a bump. Brett did that bump right in front of the Trump family. And they all reacted to that. Bad News Brown wins. I did think this was really cool watching it, that Brett went babyface. It was very cool. Oh, sorry you can't be here, Titanium Titan, but we wish you the best, man. Hopefully you can be here in 2 weeks when we watch another WrestleMania. We just have to decide which one we're going to do. There's Brett. Look at the size of that trophy. It's got, I think, 7 feet tall. And he's going to slay. I like how he stomps it like it's a wrestler. Got to be careful, though, Brett. That can hurt your feet. I hurt my foot once kicking something. Not out of anger. I just kicked it and hurt myself. And there he's got the whole damn thing. Oh, that trophy was nice, man. Look at Tony Chimmel. That's crazy. Did they really re-art pro wrestling? I was wondering that. They recycled the top of that trophy to give it to Brett. That's funny. I remember when Brett won that trophy in '93 and thinking about this moment. I'm like, remember when he broke that trophy? Now he finally gets a trophy all these years later. Rude. Thank you, K-Dogs Kennel. I cannot remember that. Rick Rude, yeah. Rude was relatively new. Nah, maybe not. He was there less than a year. Beating. I'm on my way, darling. Are you after her vowels? I don't know. Vanna White and Miss Elizabeth on the same show. Elizabeth's better. Elizabeth has her beat. Elizabeth's hotter. She's unreal. But K-Dogs Kennel, thank you for that 5, dude. Lost to Rude at SummerSlam. Went to WCW in November. Would work a feud with Flair. I remember that. And the belt at Clash of Champions in '90. I do remember when he went to WCW. My memories of when exactly he departed WWE were a little fuzzy, but I knew it was in '88. So do we start the tournament now? I believe, right? Let's get the rules, Howard. Hook us up. Oh, a proclamation. That's the little man right as we speak, right under my feet. That's him, just chilling. Do your guys do the paw over the eyes? That's how he sleeps. Robin Leach, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. Cheers. A lot of hair on the finger. In readiness. Champagne wishes and caviar dreams. I'm Robin Leach and I do know why. Was that what he used to say? I'm Robin Leach and I do know why. Oh, tough guy. We're going to get a Duggan and DiBiase opening rounder here. Yeah, Kelvin Sanchez, you're kind of right. Bad News Brown was a little bit like Stone Cold. Except he was just a full-blown heel, but he had a lot of that Austin in him where he just did not care. Very no-nonsense, bald head, black tights, black boots. It's not too often that you have both wrestlers with no theme music. I mean, in 1988, you were still before the days of everybody having theme music, and a lot of guys didn't have it. Hacksaw didn't have it yet. DiBiase didn't have it. Making his spring residence in Palm Beach, Florida. Andre's coming out even though he's got a match later. Oh, okay. Thank you for that, Charles Smith. I was wondering what the significance of that. I don't remember him. I never really watched Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, but I do know who Robin Leach was, and I knew about Champagne Wishes and Caviar Dreams, but I didn't know he said, I don't know why. So the I do know why was a joke. I'm learning that 35 years later. That's really cool. Midwest Goon, Andre does what he wants. That's true. Who's going to tell Andre not to be there? So as we watch DiBiase and Duggan, WrestleMania 4 was basically the first pay-per-view I ever watched. I ever ordered off pay-per-view. I was at WrestleMania 3. I did not order Survivor Series 1987 on Thanksgiving Day because I was in a bike accident and I got hit by a car and messed my teeth up. I was in the hospital all day. So missed that whole thing. So this was the first pay-per-view I ordered. Now, I had just moved to North Carolina, moved from Michigan to a small town in North Carolina back in October of '87. So our house was built right on a tobacco farm. It was still under development. Now it's all, built up and modern and all that shit. But back then, the house was brand new. We were the first people to live in it. It was just the final nail just got put in it, a couple of weeks before we moved in. So our area did not have any cable offerings. It took almost a full year for us to get cable where we lived. It just wasn't offered. They haven't put the lines in yet. It just wasn't available. We were too rural. But my dad had already started working at his job, and he started making a few friends there. And I don't know how it came up, but I wanted to see WrestleMania, and I think my dad talked to one of his friends. He's like, oh, why don't you guys come over? Bring the whole family. We'll order it so your son can watch it, and then we'll do adult shit. So they all played cards, played poker, drank, hung out in the hot tub, and just partied like adults do. And I was all by myself in this dude's den. They ordered the pay-per-view, and I recorded it. They had a VCR. I brought a tape, put it in, and recorded it. And I sat in that room all by myself and watched WrestleMania 4, all these matches, while my parents had fun with these people and drank and had a good time and partied. And I remember, after every match, I would, go into the room and, update my mom or dad. Hacksaw or Ted DiBiase beat Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and they're like, okay, thanks for the update. They don't give a fuck. And that was my memory of this show. So finally, a couple of months after that, we would get cable available where we lived, but it was the first year almost we didn't have it available. So that's how I watched WrestleMania 4. It was at a friend of my dad's who he worked with, and at the time my dad would have only been 33 years old or something like that. So we went over there, and that's where I watched it. And I still have, or I don't have it anymore, but I did have the VHS tape. I have it ripped. I have the footage from that VHS tape, but I don't have the physical tape anymore. In my mom's handwriting, in her cursive, shitty handwriting that I could never read. WrestleMania 4. But I think a big part, looking back, I have no idea the thought process with my parents, what made them decide to do this for me, to take us over there. I think a big part of it probably was they watched, which today is the anniversary of it. They watched the twin referee angle on NBC with me. They watched that whole Hogan and Andre match go down, and I think they could see that I was a little bit disappointed by the outcome because Hogan lost his title. Hogan had been champion since I was 5, so this was, or 6. No, 7. I guess he'd been champ for about 4 years. Yeah, so he'd been champ since I was 7. And so it was traumatizing, and I think my parents felt bad or something, and I think that's why they had us, they let me get WrestleMania 4, so at the time what they probably thought would be Hogan winning the belt back, but they were setting everything up to be Randy. They even gave Savage and DiBiase a one-on-one match tryout or something on Saturday night's main event just a couple of weeks before this. And I'm like, wow, that would go on to be our WrestleMania main event. DiBiase always would do the flip sometimes on that. It looks like Duggan's got a bloody mouth. And these guys know each other very well. From the UWF days. Watching WrestleMania was my Red Ryder BB gun. Yeah, it kind of was. Oh, a closed circuit Nassau Coliseum, WrestleMania 3. Andre caught Duggan. Did you see that? And that's it. Look at Andre. Good job. It is interesting. I mean, I know it's set up and it looked good on the box cover to have another Andre and Hogan match, but given the fact that Andre tried to give away the belt when he won it the first time, why would you even put him in this tournament? He should be disqualified or not allowed. I'm like, clearly we can't. What if you win the tournament? All you're going to do is do what you did originally. That kind of just occurs to me now, is that if you're looking at this from a kayfabe perspective, the whole reason there is a tournament is because Andre tried to give the belt away. So if he wins the belt here at the end and tries to give it away again, then you're just going to have to vacate and have another tournament. It's like a never-ending cycle of tournaments. Andre wins it, gives it away. Tournament, wins it, gives it away. I love this. One of my favorite Brutus Beefcake quotes. Just shears. What a package. It's Beefcake. It's Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Tonight is all over with and done. I will be the new champion. Ha 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 ha. Love that. I don't think you should be allowed to bring a murder weapon to the ring. You could straight up kill someone. No, it can't. It can't happen to me, Beefcake. What are you going to take off of my sides and top? Oh, yeah. Dino Bravo. Dino's got music. This might be in the Frenchie Martin days. Yep, there he is. There's Frenchie. Frenchie has passed away recently, too, I think, in the last couple of years. Canada's strongest man, not the world's. Dino Bravo with some Ric Flair robe vibes on that. They are dubbing this Jesus Christ Superstar music. This kind of sounds more like the WrestleMania 9 shit with Caesar's Palace. That's kind of what this music sounds like. But this is not the music that The Rock, Don Muraco, was using at this time. Muraco had recently turned babyface by helping out a returning to the ring superstar Billy Graham, who got attacked, I think, by one-man gang, and who else? Valentine might have been part of that. And Rock, or Don Muraco, came to Superstar's aid. God, these are just this terrible music dubbing. God, it pisses me off. And Jesse Ventura's mad that Billy Graham is wearing tie-dye because he said he's the originator of tie-dye. I'm not sure how true that is. I think Superstar Billy Graham is the originator of everything. Jesse ripped off Superstar, which I do like the irony of Jesse claiming Superstar ripped off him. Oh, Butch Reed. Thank you, Midwest Goon. It was Gang and Butch. See, y'all do know your shit. I'm not talking into the wind here. You guys remember this stuff, too. Anybody who, like, has an aneurysm over Charlotte or John Cena winning a match, I don't really expect to know these things. So that's why y'all are cool. The modern fan, I don't think, would have any fucking clue what I'm talking about when I'm talking about one-man gang and Butch Reed beating up Superstar Billy Graham. Interesting color on Bravo here with this green. And these two, like, look at these two guys side by side, Muraco and Bravo. And Muraco was probably in the best shape of his career right here. I don't know what he was trying to do there. Overselling. I mean, when Muraco looked like this, oh, I would have loved to see Muraco get another run with the IC, like get a run with it as a babyface. He was a great Intercontinental Champion as a heel. Coming under the tutelage of Frenchie Martin. Yeah, Luscious Johnny was gone. Frenchie would be gone too soon, and then Dino, I think, would wind up with Jimmy Hart. I know, I can't believe they dubbed the music, man. It's so fucked up. Jesse's trying to explain. Oh, Jesse's like, I only put 2 pounds of finger pressure. You guys remember that when Dino did the weightlifting deal? I think that was at the Royal Rumble. The untelevised Royal Rumble. Like the first one. Or not the untelevised, the non-pay-per-view Rumble. The televised one that was on USA. And I think that's where the Bravo thing happened. And Jesse like helped him lift the 712 pounds, which would have made him the world's strongest man. And he cheated. And then they would refuse to refer or announce Dino as the world's strongest man. He would be Canada's strongest man. Which, how hard can that be? I'm kidding. I'm kidding, Canada. You guys are way cooler than us in a lot of ways. I got nothing but love for Canada and Mexico, for that matter. I love our neighbors. Oh, Muraco would do that Mick Foley move. Don't lose an ear, buddy. Muraco would do that. He's done that more than once. Because I always wonder, like, you know, Mick Foley became a wrestler and became inspired by wrestling by watching Jimmy Snuka splash that very man right there. And since Muraco would sometimes do, ooh, good pile driver, that rope spot, I wonder if Foley got it from him. I've always thought that. Oh, yeah, We Are Pro Wrestling. They were dubbing Jesse matches for a while there. That's why I've always thought it was really important to make sure, you know, that I kept my footage and everything I recorded. That way I don't have to worry about these issues. And if I ever lose the internet, I can still watch all this stuff because I don't have to rely on an internet connection to be able to watch this stuff. So that's why I like having hard drives packed full of footage. That way, if there's an apocalypse, as long as I can get a generator and get some electricity or some batteries, I can watch wrestling until I die. The pendulum is swung. Classic gorilla. Oh, Dino pulling Corderas. And Rock kind of caught Jimmy with a forearm. We got a ref bump in 1988. I mean, it's just a sidewalk slam. Such a weird finisher. Oh, he tapped him 3 times. Bravo thinks that's a 3 count? That's a DQ, baby. I love how stupid heels are when they celebrate when it's clearly, they clearly didn't win. And now we have to hear that shitty dubbing. And so Dino pulled the referee in front of Muraco, and the referee knew it, and he DQ'd the Dino. Tatanani, I don't know, man. That's a question for Triple H. I would love it if we could somehow just whatever it costs. WWE, when they did their earnings call just the other day, of course, as the case with every earnings call, they report that they have never made more money ever in the company's existence than they did last year, which is something we hear every year. So why can't you just take out a couple $100,000 or whatever it is? Maybe it's $1 million or whatever the fuck it costs to just straighten all this shit out and get everything back its original form. But that's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. Oh, there's Mr. Baseball. Oh, we got Honky coming in. I can see that guitar. They're all trying to get after Vanna. Isn't Vanna married at this time? Is there a Mr. White? With Moolah. I'm the greatest Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion of all time. Even on Honky Tonk, man, that belt looks good. That's how good looking of a belt the IC, the classic IC is that it looks good even on a buffoon like Elvis. Deshaun Williams, what's up, man? Good to see you. John J. E. Dennett in the house, comments for me. Anybody else chiming in? Also, hit that thumbs up button for me if you don't mind. For those of you who are hanging out, would love some more likes. Here comes Greg. Again, no theme music. But I know who his opponent is. They're going to dub this music too. They're going to dub Ricky Steamboat's music. Son of a bitch. So terrible. And this is little Ricky Steamboat Jr. here. Oh, this music dubbing is so terrible. Now, Ricky, you know, he won the Intercontinental title at the previous WrestleMania, beating Randy Savage. And then shortly after that, dropped it to the Honky Tonk Man because he wanted time off for this little guy to be born. And apparently Vince wouldn't give him the time off, so Ricky left. And then he came back here, but he would only be here for a short time, and then he was off to WCW, or the NWA. And then would come back in '89, and then would leave and go back to WCW again. I mean, he was back and forth a lot during this time. And I think WWE was just, I mean, Steamboat, so good. And I just feel like they should have had him go farther in this tournament. Look at that kid's head. Jesus Christ. What did he grow up to look like? What a melon on that boy. He still got a melon? Like a cantaloupe on a little toddler body. Holy shit. He's taking the little guy in the ring. He's holding up his baby like it's a trophy. Poor guy's probably scared shitless. Gorilla goes, I'd like to find out what he's going to do with him. Oh, there's his wife, I think. The little dragon. You all right, buddy? There's some kind of a happening, and I'm part of it. That's probably what he's thinking. Well, good for Ricky that he got to bring his son down to the ring at a WrestleMania. But he loses this match here, and the winner of this match goes on to face the winner of Randy Savage and Butch Reed. And I've always wondered, like, why they didn't give us a second round Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Macho Man Randy Savage match. Good 15-minute match. Savage gets his win back from the previous year and goes on to win the world title. Babyface match, show respect, slap on the ass when it's over. Ricky Steamboat says, good fight, go out, go get him, kind of thing. It would be such a great full circle moment for a fan like me. I would have cried if I saw that at that age. But for some reason, they do Valentine over here because back then, it's like they couldn't have a babyface match back then. It was super rare. I mean, maybe they thought that would have been too much for Randy. Maybe they thought fans would prefer Steamboat. I don't know. But I just think for the story and the history of Ricky and Randy, that would have been the way to go, because you had a little bit more time in that second round, and you could have put together a nice little fun, small, condensed version of the match they did at WrestleMania 3 and have Savage go over. It can be with a roll-up or something. Steamboat beat him with a roll-up. Savage could just beat him the same way. It doesn't have to be a top rope elbow squash or nothing. You know, just have a good match where they're battling, and Savage in the end is able to sink in an inside cradle, much like Ricky did to him, and get the win back. And then think about it. Then Ricky Steamboat could have stuck around and worked a title program with Savage. But it was not to be. Especially if Ricky stuck around and then Savage became world champion and then became a heel. You know, if he didn't have Hogan in his way, he could have worked with Steamboat. In 1989, that would have been awesome. But I think Ricky Steamboat rubbed Vince the wrong way or something. Oh. Yeah, I think the plan was to cradle up Valentine, but they botched that. Richie Steamboat. Yeah, I knew that was his name. I called him Ricky Jr. Richie Steamboat. Yeah, I don't doubt it, B40. Ricky says him losing here was Vince's payback for him taking time off. That's a shame, because Vince's pettiness got in the way of what would have been better for the fans, which tends to happen with that old man. Did they just shout out Barry Blaustein in this? That's crazy. Beyond the mat, right? Yeah, and John, when he came back in 91, again for a short time, he wasn't even Ricky Steamboat. He was the Dragon, the fire-breathing Dragon, and they rarely referred to him as Ricky Steamboat. They hardly ever even acknowledged his previous run in the company. I never heard them call him a former Intercontinental Champion. Maybe Gorilla did. But for the most part, they almost ignored that he was Ricky Steamboat and just called him the Dragon. It was just so dumb. Oh, right in the external occipital protuberance. What the fuck did Gorilla say? Occipital protuberance predicaments. I don't know. Rump roast. I mean, this is a pretty good match otherwise. I mean, Valentine and Steamboat is a pretty awesome match on paper. A couple of former Intercontinental Champions. I can't tell if that's Earl or Dave. I think that's Earl in there. Yeah, he's the smaller one. Dave would be phased out of refereeing. Oh, big clothesline to Ricky. External occipital protuberance. That's what it is. Thank you. Gorilla just repeated it again for Jesse, because Jesse didn't understand what the fuck he said either. I hope I never hurt my external occipital protuberance, because that would suck. Otherwise known as back of the head. Yeah. Jesse, I don't think Donald Trump is your friend. If Jesse had anything to say about Trump now, I don't think it would be good. I've never even heard Jesse Ventura say a word about Donald Trump, but I would be willing to bet everything I own that he fucking hates him. I have no doubt. Jesse's cool, and Jesse's smart, and Jesse's educated. which means naturally he's not going to be a fan of that guy. Figure 4. He is. Wham. Stretch the hamstring, stings the nostrils. This tournament is kind of suited for Hammer because, you know, he had some good Rumble appearances where he lasted a long time. Plus, he really gets warmed up after he's already been working for a while. So, like, multiple matches should be right up the alley of the toughness of the Hammer. Valentine always had that flare bump, that flare fall. Yeah, back in those days, I could see Jesse saying that because back in those days, a lot of people had that opinion. A lot of people back in the 90s and even the early 2000s are like, you know, what this country needs is just some billionaire businessman. And I always question that. I'm like, are you sure? You know, because I mean, I don't know if they would necessarily have the best interest of America any better than the politicians would. You know, politicians, yes, suck, but businessmen are worse or just as bad and have their own interest ahead of everybody else's. So I always thought that was a stupid move anyway. And I think we learned our lesson on that. There's too much self-interest in this world to ever make anything truly work properly, you know? Too much greed, too much selfishness, and the wrong people will always be in charge. It's probably going to be impossible to get away from that. Ugh. Nice. This match is better than I remember it being. I just remember it being so disappointing because of, I thought it should have gone the other way with Steamboat. But hell, man. He did. Flush elbow shot. Wow. Yeah, I've heard the Butch Reed story before. The funny thing is I remember watching an Intercontinental title defense right in the short time Steamboat held the belt. He actually faced Reed on TV and beat him. And I wonder if Reed was maybe supposed to win that night and they made him lose or something and went with Honky instead. I have heard the Reed story. Wow. Ricky should have been full-blown disqualified for that. He straight up ragdolled Earl. His hair's on. Like, Earl has bedhead. Look at him. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Earl. I mean, Earl just made his debut the previous month, and he got him. Bullshit. Handful of tights, man. Boo. He's pulling out all the stops. If there's stops there, any stops that are left over, he's pulling the rest of them out. There's no stops left to be pulled. And there he is, almost like he's saying goodbye to us, you know? Ricky the Dragon Steamboat was one of my favorite. Ugh. God, he's even ugly back then. God damn. Fuck. What an individual. You got that right, Gorilla. Fucking dirtbag. Oh, I forgot about the six-man. I forgot about this. Matilda is back. I watched Superstars live the night that Matilda was kidnapped, and I was pissed off. Look at them. Look how happy they are. Vigorous. Weasel dog. I'm pretty sure. Oh, Coco. Oh, yeah, Mean Gene. Shout out to the Birdman, Coco Beware. We did come across a report not long ago that he was dealing with some health problems. So whatever's going on with Coco, we wish him the best. Dude could sing, man. And he had one of the gnarliest brainbuster finishers I've ever seen. He hit that thing so well. But as I was saying, are you kidding me? Why are they dubbing Jive Soul Bro? Why are they dubbing music that's released on their own shit? Pile driver, man. Pile driver, man. Jive Soul Bro is on this music video, which is in excellent condition, by the way. And they dubbed it. Oh, here comes Macho Man. Oh, moment of silence for Miss Elizabeth. Did I send a card to Matilda? Maybe I did. Doughboy, you had every single WWF rubber action figure. I had most of them, and guess what? I still do. There's a video somewhere on my channel where I show this shit. I need to update that. We need to do another room tour as well, because I might do some changes in here. Look at the blue on Elizabeth. Good gracious. Macho Man. He had such a great look. Like, that was my favorite rendition of Macho Man. I didn't like the cowboy hat and the jacket with the streamers hanging. I liked the headband, the glasses, and the robe. That's my Macho Man, you know? And that's my Elizabeth. Probably got to pay the Slick. So what? Pay Slick. By the way, we also have a picture of Slick right there. Right where the top of my finger is. That is Slick. On my shelf. I have Slick on my shelf. That's how much of a Slick fan I am. He was so funny. He just looked like a character that you'd see in, like, I'm Gonna Get You, Sucka, or something like that. He was so funny. Like, I always laughed my ass off anytime I saw Slick. He was so entertaining. Oh, Elizabeth. I am freaking in love with her. Elizabeth's top 3 women in the world. My God. I always liked Butcher Reed. He scared me a little bit as a kid because he just looked kind of like a badass, sort of. I wouldn't trust the Slickster as far as I could throw him across the street. You could probably throw Slick pretty far, Gorilla. Yeah, Slick has some pimp qualities to him. I don't know if he was originally supposed to be a pimp, but he's got a little bit of that kind of going on. Oh, I need another 805. I'm going to go get one. I'll be right back. All right. I always liked Purple Trunks Macho Man as well. Kind of my best memories of Macho was wearing the very outfit that he's wearing now, the purple and the gold boots. That's peak macho for me.
So for Barges in the quarterfinals, 2 matches set. Huckster taking on the big guy, Andre. Right. And of course, DiBiase beating The Rock. That's right, and the winner of this match will meet Greg the Hammer Valentine in what I'd have to term a mild upset. Over Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I would have to say Steamboat held a little bit of the bait.
Robert Spahn, Macho Man was your favorite wrestler as a kid. Most time spent watching wrestling was 87 to 94. Yeah, and that was pretty much 80% of his time with WWF. It was almost, yeah, it was 80% of his time. Macho was my second favorite. If it weren't for Bret Hart, Macho Man would be my favorite. Me watching him around this time with Elizabeth and how hard I rooted for them. And when you're 10 years old, you're starting to figure out girls and stuff, and if you like them, and I'm like, I like her. I knew that. I'm like, pretty sure I'm straight because she is awesome. And I have fond memories, but then Bret came along, man, and just swept me off my feet, and I became Bret Hart for life. But I've always had a deep love for Macho Man. His death rocked me 10 years ago now, 12 years ago now, whatever it's been. Fucked up. Yeah, and we talked about that earlier, Kelvin, is you're going to see 4 versions of Miss Elizabeth, which is an extra treat for Greg, because they came out, the 2 of them, in every match color coordinated, and of course she was gorgeous in all of them. Probably the best looking in the final match with that white dress, which I had to make sure was front and center on our thumbnail and stuff for this. I don't even think it's still up there, but let's see. Oh yeah, I moved it. It might be right here. It's framed. It sits above my computer. Top rope elbow to the butch stir. Good early victory for Macho Man. He'd take on 2 slick boys on this night. He'd face one-man gang later on. Showing him a little leg. Jesse says that Elizabeth distracted Butch Reed, showing him some leg. That cagey, shady, sketchy Elizabeth. Always up to no good. It's hard to see them, you know, kind of in the ring, knowing that they're not here. And like, I don't even know what my childhood would be like without like having experiences and memories of watching Randy Savage and Elizabeth and stuff, you know? Like, this was my whole life back then. Euchre's back.
WrestleMania book. Check it out, Jess. Look who's next to Vanna. I even signed it for
Oh, he's excited just because he's next to her in the WrestleMania program. That doesn't mean anything. It's like in school when you get sat next to a girl you have a crush on, but she doesn't know you exist. Oh no. You've been writing Vanna White letters. What's up, Ming?
All 3 of you guys, the Islanders, and the Weasel, I might add, the British Bulldog, Coco.
He is really into Vanna. He feels a little old for her. Plus, isn't she married? Or was she married back then? I feel like she is. You are in a jam.
The ASPC KGBY ought to be on you forever.
ASPC KGBY. What is that? Is that like having ADD OCD? Which means you're constantly changing what you're completely obsessed with? Bobby Heenan getting back in the ring. Bobby Heenan, man, he is an underrated wrestler. He was, to me, about 70% of the talent of a Ray Stevens, who Ray Stevens was really good. And Bobby never really got his due for the way he could move and perform in the ring. He was really good. He had a great top rope bump he could do. Heenan was fast, super fast. And I think Ray Stevens had a step or two on him, but not by much, man. WWE and their saxophone music in the 80s, Vince was all about the sax. Now, this music they're using for Bam Bam here, he wouldn't use forever. They would use this, I think, like in an intro of their TV shows. I think Primetime Wrestling might have used this song as the intro. Actually, I know it did. And then, like, the next year, they would take Big John Studd's music and give it to Hacksaw Jim Duggan. But this sounds like some sort of theme WWE had made. They gave it to Bam Bam, and then when he left, it was just kind of sitting there, and I think they used it for Primetime Wrestling, I think. Or one of their TV shows. Yeah, Ray, Bam Bam came in, short time. He was gone right after this, though. This is one of Bam Bam's last appearances. He came in actually in 87. He was on Hogan's team in 87, and he was a babyface. And they were running vignettes for him, and everybody was assuming he was going to come into as a heel, so they had all the managers battle for him. The battle for Bam Bam, Slick, Jimmy Hart, Luscious Johnny, Bobby Heenan, Fuji. And they all, like, kind of fought for Bam Bam. And as they got eliminated one after the other, Bam Bam shows up as a babyface and announces that none of them are his manager, and he's linking up with Oliver Humperdinck. And I think since Slick was the last man standing, that kind of had Bam Bam feud with Nikolai Volkov first. And then he was kind of in the middle of feud with One Man Gang right here. And I think Bam Bam was better than Gang in the ring. But they were both good. 440 Gorilla wrestled at. Holy. You were on a seafood diet. You ate everything you saw. Oh. Oh, seafood diet was always funny. I always liked summer teeth. Yeah, she's got summer teeth. Some are here, some are there. I always liked that one. I mean, it's not often you see two guys wrestle each other both with head tattoos. It's kind of rare for the 80s. Oh, Gang is great. He could drop just a tremendous elbow. He had ability. He could bump and all that stuff. So it's really, he wasn't bad. It's just like somebody like Bam Bam who was so big. Vader was like that too, who could, Bam Bam could cartwheel. Vader could moonsault. There was something extra about those guys, but One Man Gang was still very good. Ray Traylor was very good. But they couldn't pull off some of the shit that Bam Bam and Vader could pull off. That'd be a great tag team match, actually. The Twin Towers against Vader and Bam Bam. Vader and Bam Bam held IWGP tag team titles together, I believe. What a match that would be. Glenn Doyle, tell me about it, man. I watched that episode as well, live as a kid, and I was like, what am I looking at? He didn't do nothing. Slick didn't do nothing. He said he didn't do anything. Slick wouldn't just lie. This referee, look at him. I forget his name, but you know who he reminds me of? Again, only people my age are going to know what the fuck I'm talking about here. There was a show back in like the 80s on Nickelodeon. Oh, there it is. The ref's calling for the bell. I mean, Bam Bam was on the ring apron. Does it not count if you're on the ring apron? I guess you have to be under the rope. But you know that Nickelodeon show, You Can't Do That on Television? And they had that crazy chef, like, I heard that or whatever. That's who that referee reminds me of. And one-man gang wins because, as we know, you can't have baby faces facing baby faces, even in a tournament. It's bullshit. Oh, look at Hulk. He looks a lot different than the match we saw him in earlier today against Flexi Lexi. Barth, does he not look like him? Google Barth and tell me that ain't that referee. Same guy. This is a Canadian show, right? You can't do that on television? Well, today, man. Look at Andre then Hogan 3 at WrestleMania 4.
Speaking of the Hulkamaniacs, Hulk Hogan, we have seen him here in Atlantic City, and I know millions others are watching very intently all around the world. But if you look in their eyes, man, have you seen the fear in all those little
Is this when he starts cutting the crazy promos about the earth will open up and you grab a hold of me and I'll swim to safety or whatever? The fault line's going to break. With his family under his other arm. Trump wouldn't save his family. He'd save himself. No, he won't. This is kind of a telling dog paddle. He'll know to let go of his material possessions. Hogan, have you met this man? Does he seem like a guy that would let go of anything? Backstroke, right on. He's signing autographs. God, that fucking hair is ridiculous. Look at there. Look at Slick. What a bump by Bam Bam. He went completely head over heels there. Are y'all listening to this? The wrath of the dubbing strikes again as we have to listen to this shit-ass Ravishing Rick Rude theme. I just don't get it. WrestleMania 4 might be one of the worst dubbed shows that we've watched together. This is pretty fucking bad, man. I'm pretty sure that Jake Roberts does not have his theme music yet either. We'll see if they dub something over him, but I don't think he's using that theme yet. Brett got screwed, and now Bam Bam. It's the Screw-a-mania. You're taking the gamble of your life, letting your ladies see my ravishing body. Oh, my God. I was like, I would never be with anybody who would immediately leave me at the sight of a hot dude. So, Rick Rude, these women you speak of, they hoes. They really cut up. I mean, he looks exactly like me anyway. I mean, we're virtually the same, shirtless. Except maybe he's got a little bit less definition than I do. But other than that, we're pretty much twins, except he just has that hair. Maybe he was using this music. I'll have to go back and listen to the original music. I'm not convinced Jake had this theme yet. He might have, but I don't think so. I think on the original version of this, Jake comes out silent. I could be wrong, but I'm almost certain I'm right. We Are Pro Wrestling is here. Can you look this up? Yeah, this pay-per-view isn't well loved. When I've done WrestleMania countdown videos and stuff or ranked them in the past, I have this one on my top 10, I believe, because of my memories, but that's it. I mean, I remember this whole night sitting in this stranger's house watching this thing. Watching Randy win and being so happy and going through the journey. Those tights are awesome. This is okay, so we're going to go to the time limit draw here, if I believe. This is right before this match, I think, would basically kickstart and spark the feud between these two guys that would involve Cheryl Roberts, Jake Roberts' first wife, that would get involved with these guys on TV. Jake also came out and stripped Ravishing Rick Rude. He said, if you wear, because Rick was coming out with Cheryl Roberts painted on his trunks. And so Jake was like, yo, if you wear that again, I'm going to just strip you naked in front of everybody. And he did. He came out on TV and ripped off his tights, and Rick Rude ran away naked. I think he had some flesh-colored shit, and it was like censored for TV. But they almost did the naked thing again because Randy Savage started cutting promos on Honky Tonk Man. And he said this in more than one promo leading up to their match. He goes, I'm going to strip you naked right there in the ring. I'm like, why does everybody want to strip everybody naked? Why is that the number one motivation for these wrestlers, is to take the clothes off of their opponents? First it was Rude and then it was Savage, or vice versa. So maybe they tried to do it with Savage and Honky, and when they didn't do it, they transferred it over to Rude and Jake. But I think Vince had already had the idea of somebody being naked. And that sounds right up Vince's alley. None of that surprises me. Yeah, I don't know. My memory does not think Jake Roberts had this theme music yet. As a matter of fact, Hulk Hogan, in that NBC match against Andre, there was like a pre-match montage of him working out, and that song is playing. So they would have had a quick turnaround there to make that for Jake. I think it was still a ways off. I think he had it by WrestleMania 5. He would work with Andre. But I don't think he had it at WrestleMania 4. And Jake's theme is awesome. It's a great theme. It's one of WWE's great early Jim Johnson-ish themes. It's awesome. Look at the pain on the kisser of Ravishing Rick. No, nice. We got Danhausen and Jerichohausen on the Jericho Cruise right now. That's kind of cool. Thanks for that, Deshaun. I did have a blast. Oh, Spaz Phoenix is here. What's up, dude? Thanks for the $10. Hey, Greg in the chat. Plug incoming. WWE last week goes up tomorrow with all the fallout from Rumble and Vengeance Day. Also, movie trailer reactions for the movie 65 and Stephen King's The Boogeyman. There's a movie called The Boogeyman. Never heard of 65 or The Boogeyman. But go check out Spaz's movie trailer reactions. Oh, it's a trailer reaction. That's cool. I was thinking it was a review. Trailer reaction. And last week, WWE last week, right on. Yeah, and Vengeance Day. I think when I briefly yesterday on the podcast went through a couple of Vengeance Day predictions, I think I got them right. Braun Breaker retained, right? Roxanne retained. And Wes Lee retained, right? And poor Dijack's finger, man. He did what Sid did to his leg, but to his finger. Ooh, they showed pictures. He even, after the match, he even had a middle finger, and the finger's just completely bent. It's like John Cena's nose injury, but on his finger. Looked rough. That hurt like hell, too. God damn. That would suck to live with. Just try to sleep with that throbbing hand. I'd have a hard time sleeping. I don't know how you'd sleep. Just got to medicate. Swivel them hips. Yeah, and Vengeance Day was in an arena, too. That's kind of nice. Actually have those guys and gals perform in front of an actual audience. Yeah, Jeff, I agree with you. I imagine that the show quality and the look of it was a big upgrade, being in an actual arena and going on the road. Handful of hair. Yeah, Brain is distracting the referee. This referee's stupid. Come on, Corderis. It's bad enough you got a mullet. Keenan much more important than Damien the Snake. I don't know about that. Oh, yeah. They did release, right? Comments from me. A couple of music tapes back then that would only have a small portion of the theme. The Pile Driver tape had more complete themes, but a lot of those weren't themes that the wrestlers used. A couple of them were, but some of them were just music, and that's what I showed earlier with the Pile Driver. But man, it was as a kid, you had no way to access these themes. You had no way to rock out to them or anything, unless you wanted to record a show and then play it full blast with the commentary playing it over it or something. There was no way to hear any of these things on your own. And today's fans, now, like if you hear a new theme on Dynamite or Raw or SmackDown, you can literally go on YouTube 10 minutes later and there will already be a fresh, clean cut download of it. And you can always find it. Now you just find anything you want, any music, and it just used to not be like that. And you used to have to search for it. Once the internet started in like 96, I mailed away for a couple of bootleg CDs and a bootleg tape that had some clearer versions, but still not 100% great. And they were still sketchy as hell, and you never knew what you were going to get. And then finally, once WWE released Full Metal, it was like, oh, okay, here we go. We're finally starting to get some themes. Then we got Volume 2 and Volume 3. And then with the internet and music downloading, YouTuber that's still active right now, Don Tony, back in the day. He used to have a hotline and shit, and I used to call. I was a guest on his line back in the 90s and shit. And he even was able to come up with this, like this 4-disc set of unreleased themes, like everybody from the 80s. Rick Rude and Rougeau Brothers and Beverly Brothers and Bushwhackers and all of those themes that weren't released yet by WWE but were starting to surface. And he had great, clean, perfect downloads of all of that stuff and sent me a set of the 4 discs, and there were so many songs, great songs. I still have it. And now all this stuff, you can find all of it just on YouTube or any downloadable platform, but it was still hard to find things. I think he sent me that maybe in like 2005 or something. You know, I got that from him, or maybe 04, I can't remember. And I remember being pretty amazed with it then. I'm like, wow, finally these themes are starting to come up. And then, you know, I would download a lot on the Napsters and the LimeWires, anything you could find. But nowadays, it's totally different. So kids are lucky. Now if you hear a wrestling theme and you want to listen to it or fantasize about being that wrestler or something, it's so easy for you. You had to get creative when I was a kid. That's why my generation's better. We get to make our championship belts out of cardboard like a fucking pilgrim. Brandon Birkland, George the Animal Steel, I believe, is the winner of that Battle Royal. He never got eliminated, but he also didn't enter, so. Volume 4 will be your jam. I'm a Volume 3 guy. I'm Volume 3 all day. I don't think anything beats that. Austin, DX, Taker, Kane. So many good themes. What did Volume 4 had My Time. But other than that, I'm an Ass Man. That's what you're listening to in your car? Are you jamming out to that, Fox Star Killer? A lot of guys did the top rope fist or the second rope fist. It was kind of a common move. I think maybe Rude looked like he delivered it well. It's like one of the only top rope moves I saw him do. He didn't do a whole lot of drop kicks from there. Didn't see him do many missiles. He's wearing down Jake. Oh, yeah, The Rock's theme was on there. That's right. But The Rock had a theme on Volume 3, but I think Volume 4 was the more kicked-up version. Jeff, you made your titles out of paper and Scotch tape. I actually had a good idea in, I guess it was probably early, like late 80s or something. I asked my mom if I could have, like, we had some, like, ratty old towels, and there was a dark brown towel that we had for a while that we used, like, as a bath towel. And I was like, Mom, can I have this? And she goes, what do you mean have it? I'm like, can I destroy it? And she goes, yeah, sure, I don't care. So I cut the towel in an outline of the belt with the strap on each side and then the round part in the middle. And that was what I used instead of the cardboard, and it made it a lot more flimsy, so you could, like, throw it over your shoulder a lot easier. And I had... like, I went to some, like, type of, like, Mardi Gras type of festival thing or some fair or I don't know what it was as a kid. Oh, big backdrop. And I got these, like, enlarged plastic, like, dimes and nickels. So it was just like a big nickel, but a fake nickel made out of plastic that was still shiny and silver. And I had a bunch of those. And I was like, those will make perfect side plates. So I had the towel cut out, and I put those little circle nickels that were big, 2 on each side of the strap to make side plates. And then I kind of made the middle part, I kind of stapled some cardboard underneath it or on top of it, and was able to draw on it or something. And that's how I made the championship belt. So I had a little bit of cardboard, but I also had fabric, and the side plates on the towel, like when I threw it over my shoulder, it actually worked. It was a good looking championship belt. I don't have a picture of it. I never took a picture, but if my brain doing that, making that thing, constructing that thing would have known or understood that there's going to be replica belts available for purchase one day, I would have been shitting my britches. Oh, to be a kid again. You made yours out of grocery bags. Yeah, but I kind of realized that cardboard wouldn't work because cardboard can fall apart, can tear. If it gets wet, it'll just bleh. The towel, was a thicker towel, and it could get wet. I could throw it in the corner or something like that. The cardboard that I had to the attached could get damaged, but I could always remove that and replace it with another one. So I had a pretty good toy championship belt that I made. I wish I still had my bath towel championship belt. These guys are battling. I mean, this is a WrestleMania 4 tournament. These guys are going the distance here. This is the finish right here. Nope. So the time ran out as Rude was trying to get the unfair advantage on the turnbuckle on the pin. A draw. Jake's going after the snake. He's like, well, I got an opportunity here. Jesus. I feel bad for that snake. He has to be in that bag that whole time and then brought out in front of all these people. Hope the snake doesn't have stage fright. Yeah, and of all the people to get a bye, the gang gets one. And $1 Million Man would get a bye as well. Okay, here's a good look at the brackets here. Oh, good. It's Vanna White. Beautiful and vivacious Vanna White wearing her Jimmy Snuka outfit. Look at her. Look at that hair. Bob, she doesn't even know who Bob Uecker is. I love it. Who? February the 5th, today. Look at there. Hulk. She likes Hulk.
He is so nice. I've been talking to him. He's terrific. I like him.
I hope you haven't distracted him going into this big match with Andre the Giant.
I don't think so.
Also in round number 2, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, thanks in part to Andre the Giant, has advanced. He is going to be going against The Rock, the magnificent Muraco. Who do you like in this one, Vanna White?
I have to tell you something. I don't know about the $1 Million Man.
She doesn't know about Ted DiBiase. He's shady. Brandon, that's not even a question. Elizabeth, hands down. 100%. Quickly. Randy.
I think she's terrific. I met a woman person behind him. That's what they need, and she's doing a great job, and they make a great team.
Vanna knows what's up. It's great to have it's great to have a woman person behind you. Vanna looks good, but she's nothing compared to Elizabeth. What's up, Ash Starwin? What's up, guys? My cousin was over. Was he a heel or a babyface? He left WrestleMania 4. Yeah, buddy. Right on. We are, an hour and 30 minutes into this thing? And here comes Hercules against the Dingo Warrior, I think. Here he comes. Here comes Dingo Mania. Here to eat babies. Those stairs were a trip. Ultimate Warrior wearing a bandana was kind of funny. He's a house of fire. Next year, he'd be losing the Intercontinental title to Rick Rude, and the year after that, he'd be winning the title from Hulk Hogan. I did like Warrior right out of the gate when he came in. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's fucking insane. And he had that music. And big matches here, too, for Hercules back-to-back years. He worked Billy Jack the previous year, and now he's in there against Warrior. That's true. Euchre and Vanna White outlived all of these wrestlers and personalities, although back then Vanna wasn't very old. Financial Truth Academy, sensational Sherry over Elizabeth. Are you kidding me? Did we see Elizabeth in the member? Were you here at Financial Truth in the members only watch along we did earlier today? From Nitro, seeing her, Jesus, man, she got better with age. She was every bit, if not hotter, in 1997 than she was here in 1988. Yeah, these guys had some issues. They did the deal on TV leading up to this match, I remember, where Warrior broke the chain of Hercules. They were like kind of doing a tug of war, and he's like, rah, and he just broke in half. It's basically a rehash of kind of what they did the year before, you know. The year before with Billy Jack, they did the deal with Herc and him where they had the full Nelson contest and Hercules attacked him. And then with Warrior, it was like the chain thing. So it was just the same type of simple thing that led to a match between two super muscular dudes. This would be a pretty good real fight, but I'd take Hercules. I think Hercules would fuck Warrior up. Oh. Sadly, Young Rock didn't do Elizabeth justice. Oh, God. I don't think they've done anybody justice. That one little shot they showed of The Undertaker, he looked like Ryan Satin, and they had a China in there. It looked like an SNL skit. It was crazy. So I'm not surprised they didn't do her justice because it doesn't look like they did many people justice. I think the only guy getting pretty decent reviews right now is Luke Hawx, right, who's playing Stone Cold. But I'm yet to watch any of Young Rock. I'm afraid it would be hard for me to watch it as a wrestling fan because I would critique I would actually the accuracy of some of the wrestling stuff, and probably nobody wants to hear me do that. I don't think Warrior is a weakling by any means. I don't think Warrior... I think he's intended, couldn't necessarily protect himself in a jam, but there's some guys that I think are in wrestling that are super tough that would eat him for lunch. I mean, I think Warrior's tougher than Shawn. I mean, if Warrior and Shawn got in a fight, Warrior would kick his ass. But there's some guys, you know, if I think Warrior mixed it up with Haku or a Hercules or a Spivey or somebody else who's just known to be an ass kicker, he wouldn't fare too well. Actually, Becky Lynch did great as Cyndi Lauper, Juliet. She did awesome as that. Sounded just like her. I have no idea why they never put Miss Elizabeth in the Hall of Fame. No idea. Maybe the circumstances of her death or whatever. But with Triple H in charge, maybe that's something we could even see this year. They have not announced anybody for the Hall of Fame yet, right? I will be in LA on Friday night before WrestleMania. I might go to the Hall of Fame. I have not bought my ticket yet. Wasn't planning on it. Was planning on just going up to LA, getting there, getting in the hotel, getting ready for the weekend, perhaps going somewhere, meeting up with fans or whatever. But if they start announcing people, if they are, I don't know if they're going to announce any inductees or if the WWE remembers they have a Hall of Fame to do. If she's in it, then I might want to be there. It would feel fitting. He doesn't have the fingers locked. Oh, yeah. They did the Brett Piper finish before Brett and Piper did. But Warrior got his shoulder up. I kind of forgot that was the finish. Yeah, the Hall of Fame is after SmackDown. It's a double taping on that Friday, which I have not thought about what to do Friday yet. I was thinking I might go somewhere and watch the show, but there's probably not a bar that's even going to show that. So I'm not sure what to do yet, but we will be there and we'll be in a hotel, so I'm not sure. It would be better if it was Vegas. We could just go and be somewhere. But he's got that chain around his neck. 2 years in a row, Herc would use that chain shit. He busted open Billy Jack the year before, and now Warrior gets the better of him. And the year before that, Herc wrestled against Steamboat, but Hercules hadn't changed his look up yet, and he was still wearing that medieval-looking shit or whatever it was. Another screw job. Are we going to get a flashback? Nope. Sugar Ray. Sugar Ray Leonard. Yeah, that Marvin Hagler Sugar Ray match. I remember that. WWE was kind of doing some boxing promoting. They promoted Sugar Ray and Donnie Lalonde. I remember they never shut the hell up about that. Wow, we're going to get the whole saga here. I mean, Piper was gone by this point. He had been gone. I'll never forget watching this. I watched this live as it happened. Because they built it up the previous week, and I knew I had to be sitting in front of my TV that Saturday afternoon. What a moment. That's just insanity to me. I always like when Andre would go for a right hand. Sometimes he'd go like, and there it is. Boom. Falls backwards on the slam. Morella counts. He was out way before the 3. I don't even know why that's debated. That's when DiBiase announced he's going to buy the championship. Would you even be allowed to sell your championship? Hogan's acting like he's broke. Like he was sitting there telling Craig, you don't understand like how much money I was offered. Like it's incredible. It would change my life. I'm like, you're already a millionaire. This rocked me as a kid. This freaked me out. This is when Hogan beat Bundy on Saturday Night's Main Event at the very end, tail end of 1987, or the early part of 88. And then all the baby faces came out to stop Andre, and he just no-sold it and just kicked all their asses and continued to choke Hogan and kill him. I mean, I felt like he was murdering Hulk Hogan here. He's like, "Argh!" And that's why Hogan was so good, or that's why WWE was so good at selling this shit to kids, because God, Andre could be so scary with that face. Hogan's got Andre beat right there. This was so crazy. I knew something was up too as a kid. Something didn't feel right about any of this, and I just knew like this could be bad. Vince and his Lady Luck shit. He's always got to say that line. What is it with Lady Luck riding on people's shoulders that Vince has to repeat 7,000 times? It's like his favorite saying. Hogan with he got him. Hogan's whole shoulder was up. Looked like a 3 count to me. You lost, Hogan. Cry about it, bitch. Too bad. I love that night. That was the first appearance of the Winged Eagle, but Hogan cut his promo in a pre-tape, and he was still wearing the old belt. Then he came out with the Winged Eagle. Didn't look right. Continuity error. Wow, Glenn, that's your first wrestling memory. I was psyched for that match because Bundy beat Hogan by count out at the last Saturday night's main event, which set that match up. And so when they booked a rematch, they were talking about it on TV that weekend. And as a kid, I didn't know Saturday night's main events were coming on until they told me about it. So I had no idea about the Hogan-Bundy rematch until I watched Superstars that day and they were plugging it. And I'm like, oh my God. So I stayed up late and I watched that. And it's not my first memory, but it's a big one. It's a big memory of mine. That very same match. And Andre, I mean, for that to be your first memory, watching a murder, that's pretty intense, man. You know what's scarier is I am 4 years older than Andre the Giant is right here. Insane. Wild Red Berry. Yes. Gorilla managed by Wild Red Berry. I guess I forgot. That's awesome. Shout out to Wild Red Berry getting a drop on WrestleMania. I guess I forgot about that. He's very cool. You said that last year. He was on a man on a mission last year too, Jesse, and what happened? Can barely even hear his music. That might have been Vince right there. Did you catch that cat opening the curtain? I think that was Vince. Vince back there calling the shots. Hogan looks really weird without a championship. Took me a long time to get used to that. As a kid, when you spend half of your life as this guy is champion, it's hard to envision any other way. Just, what's the point of doing this on the way to the ring? Looks stupid. Can you imagine Stone Cold coming down to the ring? Like, you look like an idiot. Look at the cop behind Hogan marking out. I love it. I'm going to squeeze and twist and never stop. And I love that Morella is the referee again. Oh, it was Pat Patterson. Okay, I guess that could have been Pat. I thought it might have been Vince. Pat also liked to wear those vests and shit. Okay, yeah, it probably was Pat. Feels like Vince would be headsetting it. They were identical. Look at the plastic surgery. Actually, I want to... Oh, shit. By the way, how easy... Did I never finish acknowledging that you met all those awesome people? Thank you for that tweet earlier, by the way. He met Ryback, Fred Rosser, Alyssa Flash, $1 Million Man, Julia Hart, JC Storm, Trey Miguel, and Death Dolls. Some Northeast convention, it looks like. Sorry, how easy when you told me about that. Something else was happening. Oh, you met Grim? He's a weirdo. Cool. That's very cool, man. And there's Andre locked in the ropes. He can't go anywhere. I mean, he's not. Look at Virgil lifts weights. None of these guys can get this rope off. If the rope was that strong to where two grown, strong men who lift weights can't open it, that means the ropes should be strong enough to cut Andre's arms off. Hogan is right-handed Andre. There he goes. Andre just falls, crumples. You didn't see Andre on, the first WrestleMania match. He didn't go to the mat at all. Oh, Andre grabbed him. Yeah, Andre loved the top rope spot, but I just love that they kayfabed it so hard, like it was so impossible for him to get out. I can understand a guy of Andre's size might need some assistance, but two men like DiBiase and Virgil should have no trouble getting Andre out of that or freeing one of his arms. It's kind of like it's the same thing how wrestlers take forever to climb up the ladder. They can do it quicker, but it's just better for TV if they don't. Same thing, same concept. It's funny, back in the day, you can see this a lot in 87 too, before they switched to digital and they were still recording on tape. You could see these red streaks. I think it was from the light or something, or some sort of weird exposure, but sometimes they would stay on the screen and you would see them. I think I saw one. It's a hard thing to describe, but you'd notice that a lot on the older technology. Well, Glenn, Andre's bad back at WrestleMania 3 wasn't his common knowledge. That's been the story for decades. He was filming Princess Bride when Vince kind of approached him about doing this. And he needed the surgery and all of that, but he was able to come and do this. Big match at Mania 3 to put Hogan over. And I think maybe the original idea was for that's all Andre was going to do, was just do that and put Hogan over and then be gone, but he was able to come back and work a couple more years. He worked 3 more WrestleManias after that. 4, 5, and 6 before finally calling it a career. Hell, even WrestleMania 7 he worked, although he didn't wrestle. And then shortly after that, he would pass away. He's done it. He's got Andre all over the place. Andre looks really disoriented. He's selling well. Ugh. There's Virgil. Andre's got too much going on at ringside there. Oh, and there's DiBiase with a chair. You bastard. DiBiase's out. Yeah, Andre wrestled a few times before he passed. Oh, big. Uh-oh. Oh, dink. Oh, Hogan took that hard. You could hear that he got caught with the side of the chair right on his head. And it went dink. Oh, and there goes the tree. Yeah, I'd be waiting for the referee's decision here too, but we know it's a double count out, or double DQ, excuse me. Is that Mel Phillips ringing the bell there? This is so funny. This little suplex he gives Virgil here. Like a thief in the night. So Virgil's laid out. Rene Goulet's there. He'll help him out. They're both eliminated. And a body slam. And one more for good measure. But it's kind of anticlimactic. Yeah, it's Jesse's. Like, it doesn't matter, though. Imagine, like, that's a stark contrast between 2 years. At WrestleMania 3, Hogan body slamming Andre was probably the biggest moment in wrestling history. The very same moment happens a year later, and Jesse says, it doesn't matter, though. That's crazy. Now, as a fan, when I was watching, I felt Savage was on my radar before the tournament. I thought he was a possibility, but I still thought the whole thing was centered around Andre and Hogan because that's their top story and had been for the previous year. So I wasn't for sure at all on Savage until this match was over. Once Hogan and Andre were both disqualified, I'm like, well, shit, now Hogan's out. It's got to be Randy. There's nobody else it can be. And not even DiBiase. DiBiase's not going to win. The heel's not going to, even at age 10 or 11, 10, I knew, I was almost 11, I knew that the heel was not going to close out this pay-per-view as champion. There's just no way. So I felt like it would be a Randy Savage victory from the minute that double DQ happened. I spooked my dad. The following WrestleMania, we actually were able to order it at our home. And before WrestleMania, I went upstairs. I had a typewriter on my desk, like a real typewriter, and I typed out my predictions for WrestleMania 5. I typed them, folded it up, and put it in an envelope, and I put it in the living room before the show. And as the show is going on, I tell my dad to open it, and he's reading it, and I predicted almost every match right. I predicted Strikeforce breaking up. I predicted Rick Rude winning the Intercontinental title. Hogan obviously beating Savage. And I think what got him was me knowing Strikeforce was going to break up. And he's like, how the fuck? And I was like, Dad, you can just tell on TV. Like, something's up. And he was like blown away that I typed down, wrote out what I thought would happen. I don't remember what I got right and what I got wrong, but I know I got like everything right. And anything I did get wrong was minor. Ugh, shut up, Jesse Ventura. Bam Bam would have been cool. I did like Bam Bam a lot. And Hogan's out there posing. You lost, brother. Strikeforce was an awesome team. I remember when I was like in 5th grade, we were like in gym class and they split us up. We were going to do like a little mini basketball tournament. And I was a pretty good goddamn basketball player. Maybe I wasn't quite great in 5th grade, but I would become very good. And so we were broke off into these little teams and they're like, okay, come up with a team name. And I had just moved down to North Carolina from up north, from Michigan, and I was just a kid. And so they split us up in these little teams, and they're like, come up with a team name. So I'm like, Strikeforce, and then there's this little, like, fat, loudmouth redneck kid. He's like, we're NC State. We're NC State. We're NC State. Our name is NC State. And he would not shut the fuck up. So we had to play this stupid basketball tournament as NC State. And I quickly realized how big college basketball was in the Carolinas, and this little motherfucker who I could destroy on the court forced me to not call the team Strikeforce and to call us NC State instead because I was the new kid and what he said went. It's all right. I showed him. I got my payback. I wanted to come out to Girls in Cars when we made our entrance. I don't think we won that little tournament, We didn't have the best team because we had that guy on our team who was a little piece of shit and unathletic in every way possible. And he named our team, and he was the worst player. He was just loud. He was just like loud. Nah, nah, listen to me. Listen to me. Little piece of shit. I wonder what happened to him. I did not see him, I don't think, at my reunion. 25 reunion. Pink. Look at that. Hulk Hogan is a cheated man, not a defeated man. That's his buddy. Nothing's going to stop him now. I've actually, Dominic Mysterio has worn gear similar to what Randy's wearing right now. I've pointed it out before. Mega Powers, yeah. I'm going to take it all. What about it? Yeah, I believe he is too, Elizabeth. She's so fucking awesome. Let's get back to you, Gorilla and Jesse. Here we go with some more bullshit music. Must be Muraco, right? It's got to be Muraco again. Yeah, it's Muraco. I can see Superstar there with him. Good Lord, the Hogan ego striking. Well, he kind of had to. As a kid, I actually appreciated hearing that because the Mega Powers had just formed. They're buddies. You see your friend getting screwed over, you're going to say something about it. I think it's okay for Savage, based on the stories that were going on at the time, that he would mention something about Hogan getting fucked over. Plus, you got its foreshadowing, talking about nobody's beating Andre the Giant, not Andre the Giant, or beating Hogan, not Andre, not Ted DiBiase, and he's going to be dealing with all of those guys in the main event. So Savage kind of had to say something based on where the story's going. Dig it? God, this music is terrible. Oh, shit. Shit. Oops. I'm going to have to resync up. I just hit. Oops. All right, where are we at? 202? There we go. I'm back. Resume. I just got to... Oh, perfect. I just need to go up 10 seconds. Perfect. Yeah, that's true. What a brilliant maneuver. There, we're perfectly synced now. There's the bell. Oh, look, it's Barf as the referee again. Oh, nice power slam. He didn't let him go a little bit. That's true. Muraco, DiBiase finds himself as the underdog here because he's got no backup. DiBiase or Virgil got taken out by Hogan. Andre, of course, is not there. So DiBiase has to go it alone and actually win himself a match here. Oh, I forgot we got to get Demolition and Strikeforce. Yeah, Glenn, I guess I was mad too, but I knew it. It was one of those things that I knew Demolition was going to win the championships here. It felt likely. We still have 2 title matches coming up. We have the Intercontinental title coming up and the Tag Team title coming up. 3 title matches, actually, with the main event, too. DiBiase smart, rolling outside. Did Superstar Graham and DiBiase ever wrestle in the late 70s, early 80s at any time, I wonder? I don't know. Yeah, DiBiase, he wouldn't have, it would be another year plus until his Money, Money, Money song would. Ooh, Rock got kind of slingshotted in there. I mean, I remember DiBiase getting that theme, I'd say somewhere in like mid to late 89. I don't think he had it at WrestleMania 5 either. I don't think he had that theme. So it would be a full year plus. I love that, Brandon. Yeah, Gorilla was wrong with the George Steele stuff earlier. He thought he got in, but he didn't. I always loved the bickering between Jesse and Gorilla. Sometimes they would get heated. And plus, you got to remember, those are two guys, those are both former wrestlers. And Gorilla's probably ready to beat his ass a couple times. DiBiase always with that funny elbow or that funny punch. Just makes yourself take a bump for no reason. Not one of my favorite moves. Right there it is. Brutus had his song, but I'm telling you, I don't think DiBiase had his song at WrestleMania 5. But I do think Brutus did. So did Hercules, who wrestled King Tonga that night. What's up, Alan Carter? My first WrestleMania growing up was 5, so I watched Strikeforce's last match against the Brainbusters. Yeah, you could kind of feel it as a kid. I just knew there was Demolition was a babyface team too by that point, and I just didn't know. After all that time off, I felt like Strikeforce had run its course. Plus, they kept playing it up on TV like they haven't teamed together in a long time. I'm like, so what? Lots of tag teams get injured. You come back. Sometimes it's a long time. It doesn't mean the team has completely lost chemistry, but that's the way they made it out to be. I don't think I've seen the biopic Jesse Ventura story. Unless, wasn't there some really terrible thing that was made? Like, it was almost like, that's the finish. He got him. He got him with the slingshot. I want to see that replay. I kind of forgot how that went down. That was just DB out wrestling him. I think he kind of spun around on an Irish whip there or something, caught Muraco, fell backwards onto the top rope. Yeah, let's take a look. Drop down. That's right. This match was to get into the finals, which was crazy. And he's in. Wow. But isn't that biopic like something that's really terrible, kind of like in the same way that The Room is a terrible movie? Like just really fucking crazy? I don't remember.
With everything weird that's happened here tonight, maybe somebody grabbed her, maybe somebody kidnapped her. She's supposed to meet me down here, and, we're
We're supposed to do a whole bunch of stuff. Here comes Demolition. Hair glitter. Is that something that happens regularly in baseball games? Guys get hit in the top of the head with a baseball bat? I like that Axe's makeup is a little bit reminiscent of Hawk's first makeup, like early Hawk.
Must be October 31st already. I'm never eating sushi either.
He just has to throw that line in there. I'm never eating sushi either. Fuck you, Mr. Fuji. You're 60-something years old, Bob Euchre. How have you gone this long without having sushi before? Even if you don't like sushi, you've never tried it? In all these years? I'm never eating sushi. Sushi's awesome. Yeah, so one-man gang gets the announcement here to get the bye. That's pretty cool. And here comes Gang, or here comes Valentine. They did a good job of concealing that side entrance, like down the aisleway. You can hang a left and get out that way. They got like a second entrance or exit, I guess. And here comes Macho Man. But yeah, Dominic Mysterio at one of the pay-per-views wore, like he's got the DM on his shit that kind of was reminiscent of that. But one before the breakup with Ray, him and Ray wrestled in something that was very similar to what Randy and Liz are wearing. And I thought at the time that maybe it was a tribute to Macho Man. Now this dress and Elizabeth's blue one are almost like they look the same, but one's pink, one's blue. But very cool, the color coordination here with these two. And as a fan, I was happy to see it because, you know, I had to spend the first couple of years of watching Randy Savage, watching him treat Elizabeth like shit. And I didn't like that because she's awesome. And tonight was finally the validation. Like it was kind of a slow build. He was a shithead to Elizabeth all the way up until that Saturday night's main event where she stood in front of the guitar and saved him. And then after that, he was way nice to her. But he still didn't give her that true validation until the main event here. That's, of course, on our overlay here. Of, you know, putting him up on his shoulder and showing her the love and respect. But I don't know, man. He was pretty shitty to her. And he would be shitty to her again. And 1 year later, he'd be treating her like shit again. Look at the inside of that. That's like the inside of Jerry's suede jacket. That's some nice stuff. See, now there's some belts in the audience there that look either professionally made or just really well made. That dude in the Macho Man. It looks like Todd Pettengill dressed as Macho Man out there. Those, Brandon, those steps were a bitch. A lot of guys were tripping. And I think they finally had somebody over there warning them or something. But I remember a few guys were stumbling with that step. I don't think it was, they must have had a different step layout or something here for this WrestleMania. But next year, a few guys struggled with that. As a matter of fact, that the following year, they would do that Roddy Piper thing with Morton Downey or whatever. And I think Brother Love tripped over the steps, too. He was, like, running away, and that step was there, and he tripped on it. A lot of guys are struggling with that step. It is the worst when you're either expecting a step to be there and it's not, or you're not expecting a step to be there and it is. Regardless of the scenario, it's almost like equally sucky in different ways. You can fall or shove your spinal cord out the top of your head, one or the other. Can really throw you off balance.
As well he should be. The man who wins advances forward. Shoulder breaker or power slam coming up.
Shoulder breaker.
Cover a little nonchalant. He didn't get that body weight really on him. Definitely didn't get squared away on that. He needed to sink the arm in and hook that leg deeper. Can you imagine just what's going through the minds of these two individuals?
Pretty sure Savage works the main event in the red as well, right? He might have only just done red and purple in this one.
Over the top and Darrell hard onto the concrete. Almost rammed his head into that steel barricade. You know what's unique about this is Valentine's giving Macho Man a taste of his own medicine. That's normally what the Macho Man likes.
By the way, I appreciate everybody staying up tonight. I guess if it is on the East Coast, we are approaching 11 o'clock, and we still have an hour plus to go here. So we're going to be finishing this pay-per-view off right at the midnight hour if you live on the East Coast. But if you live here with me, it's still very early. I actually think I would get a lot more content out if I lived on the East Coast. That time works so much better for me. Pay-per-views, Raws starting 8 o'clock instead of 5 o'clock and shit like that. Like my lifestyle and how I live my day-to-day life and stuff, it doesn't do well with early shit. And I'm on the West Coast, which makes it worse. It's like double bad. I might as well be living overseas. I was like, if you guys will pay for my moving expenses and super chat me enough to give me like 2 years salary worth, I'll move. I'll move to the East Coast tomorrow. I'll just wait for them to, you can start whenever, just whenever you're ready, you can start sending them. I'll just wait if we can add up. Nothing happening yet. Anyway, I'm sure you guys will come through. It's just a couple $100,000. What's the big deal, man? No, not that much. Yeah, Savage is a little off, Jesse thinks. Just wait, Jesse. Yeah, I want to know where the audience member got those belts, too. They look pretty well made. I mean, I suppose it's within the realm of possibility that somebody would know a belt maker, you know, back in those days. Now it's not. It's so much easier to network and get contacts and things like that. You got so many ways to do that. But back then, you would just have to know people who knew people who knew people. And maybe he knew people who was able to get him some belts, or he might just be a really crafty individual, somebody who can work with leather and can work with metal. You know, if you have those skills, you could make a belt. I mean, even it might look shitty, but if you know how to, if you've done some metal work before, you've done some upholstery work or anything like that, or if you're crafty, I think you can make a championship belt happen. But 10-year-old kids, they're only so crafty, you know. I didn't have much craftsmanship to me when I was that age. Oh. Eastern time zone used to work so great for me back in the day because I would work nights at the restaurants a lot, but I was also like a big NBA fan. And on the East Coast, a lot of those West Coast games would start at 10:30. So I knew, like, when I got off work, I could go home and have this awesome night of basketball. And it was great. It was so great. Football didn't start till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It was so nice, so nice. Here it's 10 a.m. It's fucking bullshit. Surprised that there's nothing illegal about blaring a megaphone in a competitor's ear. The fact that that's not illegal is pretty funny. Yes. That was the match that I went in the other room. That made me so happy because I was a little bit biting my nails there. And I remember going in the room where my parents were hanging out with the adults. And I told my mom that, updated her. I said, Mom, Randy Savage beat Greg Valentine. And she's like, yay. Looking back, she was probably like, who gives a shit? But she did like Elizabeth and Randy Savage. I just think they had other things on their mind that night. They were having a good time. Earl with the wild reaction there. Oh, we're back to Vanna? We get more Vanna?
All right, guys, we've got action. I got to tell you that. We've got action. Vanna White. Bob Uecker's driving me nuts. He's looking all over this building for you, and he still hasn't found you. Are you hiding by any chance?
I'm hiding. I don't know who I'm hiding from. I don't know who we're talking about.
You've certainly heard of Bob Uecker.
Van's like, I don't know if I know who Bob Uecker is. How do you know who Bob Uecker is?
Been happening here in round number 2. What a fantastic match between Hulk and Andre.
This was great. I really enjoyed it, but I told you I still like Hulk.
I know you do. Now, here's
I know you do.
he has advanced, however, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, over Don Muraco.
I don't know. It was Mr. Belvedere on at this time? It probably was. I think it was, actually. It definitely was. They didn't even mention anything about Mr. Belvedere, did they? I swear that aired around this time. 88 sounds about right for Mr. Belvedere.
He's kind of like you and I, Vanna. We work very well together. One-man gang, by the way, also in the
She looks like she's wearing a wedding ring. So Bob Uecker needs to stop being shitty. That's somebody's wife, bro. Of all the music not to dub, we got a full-blown Honky Tonk Man theme. I'm going to go get another 805. I'll be right back. Be right back. Ooh. They had also repurposed recently the Intercontinental title. The Intercontinental title had a much more silver tone to it when Randy Savage and Ricky Steamboat held it. And it was kind of made more gold. They would do the same thing to the tag team titles a couple years later. They were kind of silver. And then after Demolition beat Colossal Connection at WrestleMania 6, they became shiny. Yeah, see that one in the crowd? See that IC belt in the crowd? Like, that's pretty close. Where did they get that belt? Is that a time traveler? There's some crazy pictures. Have you ever looked at that up, like time travelers? Like there's this one picture from, I don't know, the 1920s where it's probably just an illusion, but there's this dude there that looks like he's dressed modern and he's got a modern haircut and a modern shirt. And it looks like he's looking at a cell phone and it's like, what the fuck? And it's a real photo, but maybe it's one of those type of deals. Maybe that guy in the crowd is me from the future who took my classic Intercontinental title to Trump Plaza to sneak up behind Donald Trump and hit him in the head with it. And as you see, I'm getting very close. I wore my Macho Man costume to blend in with the other wrestling fans. And I started way up at the top, and I'm inching my way down to get closer to Trump so I can take that belt and fix that hair of his. So it's either a guy who had access to a belt maker or me from the future. It really can only be one of those two things. Isn't this where Warrior squashed Honky? Not here, that deal. We're watching WrestleMania 4. This is a Honky title defense against Beefcake, and I had this one picked completely wrong. I was certain that this would finally be the end of the Honky Tonk Man's run. I felt like Beefcake was poised for an Intercontinental title run. I'm surprised they never put the Intercontinental title on him. And I thought this was going to be it. When he was unsuccessful, I then thought that he would win at SummerSlam. But then they bumped him for the Warrior. But I thought this would have been a good spot for Beefer to win the IC title. But they already had a big title change, 2 of them. Looking back, it makes sense because they wouldn't have every title change. Back in those days, that would have been a pretty rare thing to see. And with you already crowning a new champion later, Strikeforce coughing him up after this. Terry, Tyrell, and Jane in Minnesota, one of Jesse Ventura's normal shout-outs. Prince is watching at my house. Huh. He asked him if his dog was named Prince because he's from Minnesota. That's hilarious. I've never noticed that before. And then Jesse was like, no, that's ridiculous. Why would that be ridiculous? That would actually be pretty cool. Although probably a lot of people in Minnesota name their dog Prince. I guess that's probably not that, and messing up the hair. He's done a good job of messing up his hair. His hair is ridiculous. Honky has maintained that hairstyle for like the last 35 years or more. Yeah, I know. Jesse's shouting out his family. Every year he did that for like 3 or 4 years at WrestleMania. Yeah, you're right, too, that deal. Beefcake was most kids' favorite wrestler who never won any big matches. He was so over. I don't think people understand how really over Beefcake was. That's why I'm surprised they didn't put the belt on him, because he was over. And politically, he had a good spot. He was buddies with Hogan. I'm surprised Hogan couldn't politic that belt onto Beefcake. I think the IC belt would have kind of looked good on Beefcake, you know? High knee, that's Beefer's old finisher, man. He used to go by that high knee. By the way, shout out to Sherry out there. We didn't even mention Peggy Sue. But it's weird, though, that they would do this, because even at my age, I knew in 2 seconds from the minute I could see Peggy Sue from 50 yards away at 10 years old and know that that's Sensational Sherry. So they weren't fooling nobody. So I don't understand why there's so many repackages sometimes, especially with people who are so well known. And somebody like Sherry, who would be back as Sherry in just a few months. I think Sherry might still technically be women's champion at this time. And she's Peggy Sue here. Because Sherry would resurface the following year. She dropped the belt to Rockin' Robin. And then she would link up with Randy Savage. And they set all that up at WrestleMania 5. Like, after WrestleMania 5, they did a big post-show interview deal or whatever, where they interviewed Sherry, and Savage showed up, and there was a scuffle between him and Hogan. Sherry was even interviewed during WrestleMania 5, where she talked about the Mega Powers exploding. So they were kind of pointing you where they were going to go. And like, oh, Savage is a heel now. They're going to put him with Sherry. And they made just as good a pairing as him and Liz did, to be honest.
That's what I like about the mouth and Honky Tonk. They'll do anything to win. Right over the shoulder of Peggy Sue in the
Yeah, Beefcake loved the atomic drops.
If he hooks it, it's over. Ballsy. Oh, he chose not to do it. Wow, I wonder why. I don't know. Maybe he felt something. I guess he figured he didn't have Brutus compromised enough to go for the pin on the shake, rattle, and roll. Then again, the Colonel had his back to us. He might have stopped it, Jess. He's got him set up. There it goes.
Oh, the shake, rattle, and roll. Well, that was obvious. They positioned themselves so close to the rope.
We can see a new Intercontinental Champion. Beefcake with a whip and a big backdrop and a beauty. Look at the champion tweeting. Waiting for a little time. Can you blame him? No. What a backdrop that was. Sends him in again for the ride.
Sleeper. How many people were Kimchi? 11. Beefer's got the sleeper. The Beefer sleeper. Honky's flailing. Look at Brutus's face. He knows it's over. See, I feel like this should be it. And then Jimmy gets up, saves it. That should have been the finish right there. And referee's down. As soon as that happened, I was like, shit. I was so pissed because I knew that if Beefcake was going to win a title, he would have won the title right there. And here's another dumbass thinking he won. Heels do this all the time. It's a weird celebration. Well, Beefcake's like, well, if I can't win the title, I'll take some hair. Oh, no. Where's he going? Who knows what's going on under there? I don't want to know. Does he have scissors in his hand? He does. Jesus, be careful with those. Oh, he's going to pin him right on the steps. Jimmy, don't rock your head so much. God, watch your ears. Jesus, he's so lucky he didn't lose an ear. It's pretty poetic. I mean, it's 2 years in a row for Jimmy Hart. He was all up in that Roddy Piper and Adrian Adonis match the previous year. And Beefcake showed up at the end of that and helped cut Adonis's hair. Damn, he did a number on Jimmy's due there. Poor Jimmy. He's got those shears. Jesus. These fucking doohickeys, they barely escaped. Hold still, Jimmy. That's what I would have been saying if I was Brutus. I'm like, dude, I'm going to lop off your ear.
That's right. He didn't win the title, but he got to give a haircut, so I guess you'd look at it as Beefcake's 50%
50%. I wouldn't even be 50% gratified. 10%. Lost an opportunity to get my hands on that beautiful wrestling belt. It's starting to get real serious now. Oh my God, I forgot about this. Oh, this is one of my favorite WrestleMania interviews ever. Forget about Vanna White. And you out. So DiBiase paid Andre to keep him out of the tournament. Ha 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 ha. Size of his hand. He's a psycho. God. The look on Euchre's face, I'm glad he's in the WWE Hall of Fame. It was part of the master plan, man. Okay, they're doing unnecessary dubbing here. The Islanders and Heenan did not come out to any music on this show, but they have this shit playing. This is so stupid. WWE needs to hire me to be in control of this. I will fix it, y'all. God, it's awful. It's a dog. Attack dog. Like, how much damage could Matilda really do to you if she was really pissed? I mean, I don't know much about bulldogs. They snort and they're very strong and bullish looking, and they can have a mean look on their face, and I'm sure they can be grouchy, but can they really hurt you? I'm pretty sure I could kick a bulldog's ass. Pitbull, on the other hand, I don't know. There's that water spot from Honky Tonk. The British Bulldogs, 2 years in a row, involved in a 6-man tag. I don't think they had music. They didn't. They definitely did not have them as heels with Bobby Heenan. I don't think they had music. I'm pretty sure. Maybe they did. I think that's dubbed, man. Okay, so the Islanders came out. Okay, so I'm wrong about that. Islanders came out to their theme music here. Why am I misremembering? Part of me remembers them having that as baby faces, but not as heels. I thought maybe it stopped when they got with Heenan, but I probably do have that wrong. But I used to rewatch this tape of when I watched it on pay-per-view, from when I recorded on pay-per-view. As a kid, I used to rewatch it over and over, and I do not remember that, but it's very possible that some of those memories that used to be sharp are not as sharp. And they got poor Matilda. Is that like the command for her to chill? Like to grab her face like that? We got Frankie, it's fucking goddamn zoo out there. Matilda's out there, Frankie's out there. Oh. Yeah, here we go. I always loved the Islanders as a team. So we are very close, by the way. I meant to mention this earlier. I can't remember if I did or not. But we're super close, I think, to the Jacques Rougeau punch to Dynamite. I don't think it had happened yet. But I think it happens sometime between now and the next few months. I think it happens before Survivor Series. So we're probably getting pretty close to that happening. Yeah, revenge match for kidnapping. Young Davey boy, so crazy.
Not only is he quick, but extremely powerful. You got two very powerful men in there right now. Davey Boy Smith, no slouch either. Whoa.
Yeah. This is a prime Haku, young Davey boy. This is ridiculous.
Haku has got a tremendous thrust kick just that doesn't have to take a back seat to anything. That's right, and I love it when he gets a chance to use that. I'm interested. I want you to see the talent of the brain.
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
Wait till they tag Bobby Heenan, then you'll see.
That makes sense. That's Jesse's dog. So that must be why he is shown leaving the ring, I think, at WrestleMania 3, right? I think when the Bulldogs come out, you see Jesse like he's on dog duty for some reason, and he's leaving. He's got the dog in his hands. That makes sense. I guess I never put that together, and I never questioned why the hell Jesse went down there to take the dog back. It was just something that I knew about, but never questioned why, and that accurately explains why that was. Interesting. I love learning shit.
Continuity is so important, especially in six-man action. Well, it's obvious Heenan saving himself, don't you think, Gorilla? Yeah, for the senior prom, baby. I'm sure he's not too excited about.
Yeah, Bulldogs and Rougeau's worked against each other at SummerSlam, so I don't know when that punch happened, but it might have been right after SummerSlam, or maybe it was right before, but I think it was right after. I think it was before Survivor Series.
Backflip maneuver by Davey Boy. Makes it time to Coco. His first time in. Coco with a front kick and a beauty. And over there.
I like WWF on Coco's trunks.
Yeah, but the brain's always thinking. That's why he's the brain.
Look at this. Headlock, scissors take over to both guys.
Double headlock on him, one with the leg scissors and takes them both over.
Bobby Heenan has got to be hot as hell. That thing looks like it's burlap or something. Like if it's strong enough to withstand the bite marks from like a vicious Rottweiler, it's got to be made out of some not breathable material, you'd think.
Maybe he has no intent on getting in there. He just wants to save himself from Matilda.
I'd be hot as shit.
Oh, beautiful maneuver. He looks front kick by the big guy. Heenan looks like a Chinaman, don't he? He sure does.
Yeah, I didn't know it was Jesse's dog either, but as soon as that was said, I'm like, oh, I put that together instantly. Oh, that makes sense because I have seen Jesse holding that dog before, and he probably wanted to remain close by to make sure his animal, who's been taken out in front of 93,000 people, is good. I do the same thing. It was Tito, or when Bub was alive, if we had to take him, I'd want to make sure I was close to him. Not trying to freak him out. Bulldog Davey petted Matilda. Bobby's in there, by the way, and he immediately got tagged out. I mean, the bottom part of it, it looks like it's like snow pants or something you'd wear to ski in, or something that you would wear as a kid to go out in the snow.
It looks like Dynamite's back to 100%, Jess. Oh, he's definitely back to 100%, but he ain't feeling like 100% right now. Well, not right at this particular point in time. Big slam. Oh, waited too long right at the last 1 second. Dynamite brought those knees up. And Tama rolled the wrong way. If he'd have rolled the other way, he'd be right by his corner. Could possibly make a tag. Dynamite's going to make a tag. There it is. Coco in there on fire. Another backdrop. Oh, there's a headbutt for Haku who steps in.
Huh.
This one's getting out of hand.
Thank you for that, Brandon. Is that what my Facebook does? It gives you a automated response. Thanks for contacting us. We've received your message and appreciate you. I didn't set that. I don't know. I never check Facebook at all. So if you've messaged me and I have not responded, I am sorry. I suck ass at Facebook. I need to get in there and do some thank yous. Jesse shitting on his own dog, man. Unless it was a different dog by this point, it is possible maybe they switched Matilda out or something, and maybe it's not Jesse's dog anymore, so he's ribbing the new dog. I mean, later when Davey would be repackaged as a singles star, he'd bring Winston. Oh, hell yeah. Thank you for the DM, Brandon from EK Wrestling. You'll be at Mania. We will definitely meet up. I'm working on that now. Got to figure out what we're going to do. Obviously, plenty of meetups can happen at the show, both nights. But it'd be nice to do something else if we can. So I'm trying to figure all that out. But yeah, hell yeah. To you and anybody else. Yeah, I don't know who Winston's owner was. It could have just been WWE just finding a service that can provide that, and a dog and a handler, and they can rent it. Rent a dog. Oh, Heenan with the bump. Shoulder bump, and Heenan's in trouble. He's all by himself. Coco's got him. The bloodline's coming in. Coco got caught. He didn't get caught. They just jumped him. Coco got caught. He didn't get caught. He was the legal man wrestling the other legal man, and the other two illegal men came in the ring and attacked him. It's not getting caught. It's being cheated. He's a cheated man, not a defeated man. Oh, no. Same result in the last year. Heenan gets the pin just like Danny Davis got the pin. They rehashed that whole damn thing with the British Bulldogs. Same exact finish. Some bullshit cheating with the weakest member of the team getting the pin. Oh no, she's actually got Bobby. Matilda, oh God, he's trying to put, Matilda is not attacking Bobby Heenan at all. So ridiculous. They try to make the dog attack Bobby, but Matilda is a nice dog. Bobby Heenan would get in the ring the year after as well. He'd work against the Rooster and lose. Oh. Okay.
I would like to acknowledge the presence this afternoon of truly one of the greats, the one,
Who's?
only, Jesse, the Body.
Love this tradition. I remember watching this as a kid every year at WrestleMania, and I had memories of Jesse Ventura, like wrestling and shit. So I knew he was a wrestler. I had his action figure. And I remember enough of what he did, and I knew enough about his career. But every time I saw this, I was like, did he do something else I'm not aware of that would warrant this big spectacle every year at WrestleMania? But I mean, I guess he was just a big deal, well-known name. He was in movies. And he was a total heel every time he was wrestling in WWE, but he was over. He is right on the edge of that. I'm still in shape. He was in great shape back then. But I always laughed. I'm like, is there some major Jesse Ventura event that I'm forgetting that makes him this much of a legend? But I guess no. He was just Jesse Ventura. Yeah, Running Man and Predator. Those were big deals. But it was every year they did this. They did it at WrestleMania 5. They did it at WrestleMania 6. They would have done it at WrestleMania 7, but Jesse left. Which WrestleMania is this? Roman numeral 1V. You got to figure that out. Slick is here. That hat he's wearing. All right, this was very scary for little, tiny, adorable, cute, adorable Greg. At this age, I was scared for Macho Man Randy Savage. I was like, uh-oh, this could be one big roadblock in the way of the championship match. Liz has got a really awesome black dress on. And Savage is wearing pretty dark stuff, too. Funny thing is, I remember Elizabeth's dress, but Macho Man's, I'm having trouble remembering this. This is not what my memory is remembering. I'm loving this teal and pink and black job he's wearing. I guess maybe because this match is so short and it's not... That's so weird. Maybe that's just a Mandela effect thing. Elizabeth, by far, is the hottest woman in the building. There's not even a close second. Bret Hart, yeah. Bret Hart? Bigger, better, badder. What's batter? Like the shit you used to make pancakes? That would have been funny if Gorilla was like, yes, Bret Hart. You'd win this match if you had Bret Hart. Oh, okay. Look at Slick. Check out how Slick's watching. He's just leaning. He's got that Paul Heyman look. Yeah, come on, Barth. It's not your job. Yeah. I mean, it was crazy to think about. Another thing that did hit me when I was watching this as a kid after Andre and Hogan were eliminated, I was like, well, it's going to be the first non-Hogan WWE champion. It was only going to be my fourth ever. I was born when Superstar Billy Graham was champion. And then I was Backlund, and then Hogan. I mean, it was crazy. Not too many guys, and Hogan had held the title for so long. To think of somebody else holding the belt at this time was really kind of creeping me out. Macho Man, intestinal fortitude. That's what it takes. Gorilla's right. I mean, and Gang was a pretty scary opponent, too. He got a little bit humanized at Survivor Series that year. Like, Bam Bam had an amazing performance running through him and Bundy. And I was like, holy shit, he is beatable. But wow, nice, Savage. Upside down. Savage all the way to the top. Back when I was on Facebook years and years ago, One Man Gang accepted my friend request. I'll slap your face. Jesus. Slick, get away from Elizabeth. I like you and everything, but you might lose your place on my shelf back there. You mess with her. That'd be rough for Macho Man. I mean, Elizabeth, the thing about her is, as much as I loved her, she was so delicate. You know, she wasn't like Sherry or some of these other women that could fight back a bit. You had to legitimately worry about her. Where if that was Sherry, you'd be like, she'll be fine. And that referee, Barth sees it, disqualifies Gang. Gang uses that cane a couple times on Savage. Oh, yeah, Gorilla probably was loving being in Atlantic City. Oh, Savage going to get a bit of revenge in the end. Oh, a smushed Slick. The Slickster. Yeah, see the sideways tunnel there, or the sideways exit. I like that they both call him the Slickster. He's slick, but they call him the Slickster. I love it. He keeps missing Savage. And our finals are set. It's so funny that Randy, like I said, talked about that in the podcast, how, Landy Poffo, who just passed away, was the genius, but Randy's music should have been the genius's music, right? Makes more sense. Okay, Vanna's got to go. Look at him look at her. Oh, Gene. Such a perv. Jesus Christ, what happened in India? Oh, smallpox. Oh. Yikes. Vance White. Yeah, Mr. Baseball's super late. Oh, at least we get Demolition's theme intact. Thank God. Poor Euchre. He's such a moron. You should not be chasing after somebody's wife, you asshole. Oh, yeah, that was from a long time ago. Sorry. I pulled up 1993 was the date on that. Yeah, I think this is a little... I mean, the tag title match is kind of the buffer, but we're going to see a title change here, which is incredible. As we hit the 3-hour mark on the pay-per-view, make sure I'm still synced up right. I think I'm a minute behind. Or I'm a minute ahead. Or not a minute, a second. 1 second. Or 1 second off. My Peacock hits is 1 second ahead. There we go. I think I fixed it. I need to have the timers closer together. The problem with I can't get like synced to the second is because I have to like look at one with each eye. I'll get a better setup one of these days. Next time I do an overhaul, I'm going to have watch-alongs in mind and try to think about a good way to set everything up. I'll film everything. We'll make it a video. Girls in cars. We didn't pay any respect to girls in cars. Axe is a little bit taller. He also wishes he was a baller. You know what I love about this match? Aside from the referee and Mr. Fuji, is everybody's alive. That's nice. Rick Martel and Tito Santana, I think, maintained excellent reputations outside of wrestling. You never heard anything bad about them. Martel has remained largely just out of the public eye since last wrestling on Nitro way back in the 90s. There was one interview or shoot interview that existed of him where he just sounded awesome. I think somebody handles like a fan page for him on Twitter or something, you know, that's like the official Martel page. But other than that, he might have a Pro Wrestling Tees gig. But I don't know if anybody's ever gotten him for an interview or whatever, if he's made it to a podcast. But you don't hear anything bad about him, that's for sure. And you don't hear much bad about Tito either. Not you, buddy. All right, double team here on Smasher. Referee should not count that, Jesse says. Oh, just chill out, Ventura. Just relax. Yeah, Brian, I said except for the referee and Mr. Fuji, everybody else is alive. Nice shot by that cameraman. Check him out. I mean, Demolition was big. Darso and Bill Eadie were big dudes and everything, but they weren't big, stupidly huge big, impossible to do anything too big. I mean, how much bigger is Axe or Smash than Neidhart? And Gorilla's like, I don't think the Boston Crab will work on one of these guys. I'm like, why not? A Boston Crab wouldn't work on Yokozuna. It would work on Axe or Smash. But I guess that was the whole point, is to really, really put over their size, their overwhelming size and power advantage over every team they have, because I think this was Vince's Road Warriors answer. He wanted to create his own Road Warriors team with its own legacy, and he did. Demolition's my third favorite tag team of all time in WWE. Hearts and Bulldogs are 1 and 2. Ooh, nice. Basically a heart attack over the top rope, and Tito ate a bump there. What an upgrade, man. Tom Zink leaving WWE and going to WCW was awesome. Because the Can-Ams were a great-looking team and stuff, but Tito was such an upgrade. You take Zink away and you replace him with Santana. And it's a whole different ball game now. Now you got a former tag team champion, a multi-time former Intercontinental champion, an AWA World Heavyweight champion, teaming up, both very good, both technical, both can wrestle, both are handsome devils. It's a great team. I'm glad they put the belts on them. I loved Strikeforce. And back in these days, the knock was that Santana and Martel were small. They were too small. You know, you'd see the Rockers come in a year that would also be portrayed that way, but Tito and Martel both outweighed both those guys. But Martel was not little. And plus, he had already won multiple championships in the company, and they're acting like, oh, they're just too small and tiny. I'm like, the dude's 240, man. The fact that 240 pounds would be considered light, too small. I mean, realistically, these guys, might be outweighed by 50 or 60 pounds each? It's not like 200. I think they oversold the size difference on these teams. They got a close one on Santana there. I like how Santana has the sombrero on his tights and Martel has the flag. I guess now they're the Can-Mex connection. Doesn't have the same ring to it. He's free meat. Free meat, y'all. You don't pass up free meat. Oh, my God. Axe just wearing Tito out. They would do a rematch. Oh, there's that flying forearm, and he nailed, I almost said Zach, Axe with it. The Mexican Football League, the MFL. Jesus Christ. They would do a rematch shortly after this. That would be the match that would write Martel off TV. He had neck problems. I think he had to get surgery. And in the rematch, they would mess him up real good with the cane. Take some of the starch. Martel throwing drop kicks here. Here comes the Boston Crab. He's got it. He's got it. Fuji. Big flying forearm. Axe is out. And then there goes Fuji. He drops the cane. Look at that perfect placement. He dropped it, and it just flipped perfectly right in front of Axe. Couldn't have timed that better. Oh, and it destroys Martel's neck with it. Down goes. Now, see, right there should be a disqualification. Tito threw Morella. Look at that. One. New champs. So Tito threw Morella down, and he landed right in front of the pin after Axe used the cane. And we've got new tag team champions. And again, at my age, I hadn't seen a ton of tag team title changes. These were kind of rare. You only saw about one-ish per year, and if you're only 10 years old, it means you haven't seen very many. Now you see 10 changes in 1 year. Unless you're the Usos. I didn't catch that. Gorilla said like a machine. Very cool. Cool throwback. Yeah, the machines were a way to get Andre back on TV after he was suspended, I think, in kayfabe. It was basically kind of what they did with Mr. America. It was a lot like that. I think Mr. America might have been inspired by Andre, the Giant Machine. Look at that kid. Yeah. Wonder how old he is now. He's in his 40s. Here we go. We got the Winged Eagle representing. We name our podcast after it. And we've got that one right there. And we've got that one. Wait, right there. Those two. One's real, one's fake. And this is the one I want. The one Robin Leach is carrying. Ooh, look, I want to touch it. Ooh, it felt nice. It was smooth. Silky. Don't let those schmucks with their greasy hot dog fingers touch that beautiful belt. You heard that Jimmy deactivated his Instagram? The fuck is Jimmy? Oh, Jimmy Uso, maybe. My good. Good for Jimmy. Oh, no. Don't let him touch it. That belt. So shiny. Golden. Oh, yeah, we got to do all this stuff. I really hope Cody brings it back, guys. It'd be kind of fitting that we're watching this WrestleMania this year, since this is basically the beginning of the Winged Eagle title. In its short life, 3 people technically held it. Hogan wore it that night to the ring. Andre won it, held it on his shoulder, and then DiBiase got it around his waist. So in 2 months, Savage would be the 4th guy to actually hold that championship, which is kind of bizarre to think about when you... Who's that guy? Oh my God, a guy broke free, had a cigarette in his mouth? Could you be smoking in there? In 1988? Would they let you smoke in this place? I'm not totally sure they played this for him to the ring either on the real version. This doesn't ring a bell to me. I'm telling you, I'm going to look my version up here. I'm going to pull out my DVD. I should have the original recording of this available. And I'm going to find out. Twice in a row for Euchre. Oh, finally, Euchre gets him some Havana. Tito, chill. See, this is bullshit. They did not play this for her. This song is added. This is added music. It was added for both of them. I already know the answer. Maybe I was wrong about that Islanders one, but I still think I'm kind of right about that. But that one I can see myself being wrong. This, I'm definitely know I'm right. Hey, yo, shout out to Pat Patterson. Terrible, terrible music. What is this nonsense? It's so bad. It takes away from the quality and the integrity of the show. Look at Bob Uecker. He's so happy. Urbana, can you walk faster so we can... And don't talk to him. Can you walk faster so we can get this music over with? Christ. Some terrible sounding shit. I better turn this down. Hopefully this is from Epidemic Sound, which is where I'm already a user, so I'll be okay. But this better not be some music that'll get me in trouble, WWE. I don't know why they're editing these. It's so crazy. I swear, if I wasn't WWE, it would be like one of my top priorities. They should hire me to straighten this out. First thing I would do is we got to change. The first music we need to change is Ravishing Rick Rude. I think that needs to be the top of the list. Then some of the NWO stuff, and then the pile driver stuff. There's no reason to... Oh, there's Bob Uecker's trembling from the kiss. The fact that they can't play Hillbilly Jim's music and Slick's Jive Soul Bro is insane to me. Tito, what are you doing? I gotta get Tito away from the wires here. Hold on. Come on. There we go. He is confused. Accompanied by himself. Royalties for music can be insane, but I refuse to believe the royalties for the type of shit they're editing out would be really that expensive. It's not the Beatles we're talking about. It's Jive Soul Bro. What the fuck? Like, it's so crazy that they edit like this. And Andre is accompanying Ted DiBiase to the ring for the main event. This big, nasty, stinking giant, and they are setting it all up. They gave you the tease, the appetizer in late 87 with Elizabeth and Hogan getting involved in the Honky Tonk Man and the Hart Foundation. Now it's on a bigger scale. We're talking world title, championship on the line. Andre is out there. Savage is going to be facing a disadvantage right out of the gate. Hogan is in the building. The Mega Powers are already buddies. I will give WWE credit. I mean, even though it was obvious where they were going because they set things up so early, they knew here that it was going to be Savage, and then Hogan and Savage would have the match against each other the next year, and they would basically just run through 88 dominating everybody together. Spending a lot of times wrestling in tag teams. Oh, my God, look at her. Now all in white. White and blue for Savage and all white for Elizabeth. Jesus Christ. I know it's hard for you. It's hard for me too, Jesse. Don't give Gorilla shit. It's not his fault. Everybody has their number one, and I'm proud of mine. Elizabeth is mine. Gotta love him. Excellent camera work. Elizabeth, me too. Gorilla. Jesse just asked him point blank, which one would you pick, Elizabeth or Vanna White? And Gorilla's like, Elizabeth. Me too. No offense to Vanna. Vanna's a big part of my childhood as well. I grew up watching Wheel of Fortune. It would be on all the time when my mom would be making dinner and stuff. So... Here we go. Titles on the line. It's Andre the Giant versus Elizabeth on the outside of the ring. And DiBiase is a lot more rested, who's only worked 2 matches. This is Savage's 4th. He had the extra one, and that extra one had to be against the one-man gang, of all people. He had a grinder against Greg the Hammer Valentine. Oh, and there's Andre being slick right off the bat. Tripped him. They're all looking already. They all know. See, the fans know. I knew as a kid, Hogan's coming out. But nope, he's not out. They're all waiting for him. Look at every single person is waiting for Hogan. Oh, hey, buddy, are you awake? And there's Savage again. Or Andre again on Savage. Yeah. This is bullshit. Yes, this is very unfair. I mean, back in those days, they didn't do the dramatic throw him out spot. I mean, that's all Earl has to do here is just say, yo, Andre, you have to leave. But that would not be dramatic enough. You need Hogan out there. I mean, DiBiase, I mean, to his credit, he was going to originally buy the title. When that fell through, he positioned himself to win this tournament, and he nearly did that. He got right to the end of it. He had Savage beat. But all that cheating karma came back to bite him. No. Well, actually, you'd risk your champ less by putting him in a tag match, to be honest. Savage was at no greater risk wrestling in tags than he would be in singles. You wrestle less in tags. You're actually more protected. That's why you see a lot of guys in tags when they're injured and shit. But I don't think that did anything to harm Savage. That was the story they were telling with him and Hogan, the friendship and the rivalries they had first with DiBiase and Andre, and then moving into the Twin Towers and all of that. It was a way for them to do. They did wrestle individually too, plenty of times. And then had those teaming moments to where they were slowly building up the problems between them and some of the weird looks and the stuff with Elizabeth, and slowly setting the table of something happening. And then a year after this, they would do the main event where Elizabeth got hit and Savage attacked Hogan in the medical room and all that. Yeah. And there is the whisper. We all know what's going to happen. Sends her away. Actually, Ventura, you haven't. I'm going to be a smark here. Jesse said he's seen this before. He was not on commentary that night that the Mega Powers were formed. When Elizabeth ran away and brought back Hogan, it was Bobby Heenan and Vince for some reason. I don't know. Maybe Jesse was doing the movie or something, and he wasn't available or whatever. But I'm sure he saw it after the fact, but he's never seen it in person. And here comes Hogan. Oh, he's wearing the long boys. Crowd's going nuts. Hogan's now coming down. Hogan's got Elizabeth. Hogan's got a chair. And he's going to watch. Savage is, he's just taking a beating. He had more matches, taking more punishment overall. He's got Andre up his ass. Here comes Hogan. Boom. Hogan takes out Andre. I loved that as a kid. I'm like, yeah, fuck you, man. Oh, I was so happy. Imagine if Hogan was wearing all black right now. It would be like an early look at Hollywood Hogan, but when he was still jacked. Oh, big suplex. What a bump. Macho's still kicking out. Pretty amazing that we heard Savage's music. It might be a record how many times you hear somebody's theme music in one show. With 4 matches and 4 victories, that means you hear Savage's music 8 times. Has that ever been accomplished? I guess with The Rock. Savage got him. Big flare spot coming up. Oh, Savage going for the elbow. What a finish. And he misses. Oh, what a buzzkill. That was awesome as a kid. I had not seen Savage miss the elbow before. I don't think before this match, and it blew my mind. And he's got the $1 Million Dream. After the elbow drop miss, Andre grabs the ropes. Earl's distracted. Hogan in with a chair. Double to left field right off the back of DiBiase. Savage sees the opportunity. Hopefully he understands. Look at the positioning of DiBiase. Look at this. Beautiful. Epic moment. Look at Hogan running over to get the belt away. Robin Leach is supposed to present this, and Hogan's like, no, F you. I've got it. And presents it to Savage himself. A tainted victory. What are you talking about, Jesse? Ted DiBiase's the one that caused all this. If DiBiase came out there by himself, none of this shit would have happened. So you need to shut up. Jesse's wrong. Baby faces are right in this situation. And Savage is the new champion. It was very cool for me to see this. I was like, this is really awesome. A new guy is champion. I wasn't very old at this time. I was just a kid, so my memories prior to Hogan winning the title are there, but they're not as... I don't have as many as I do of these days. And so it was just blowing my mind. I'm like, oh my God, there's a different champion. I mean, Elizabeth looks genuinely happy for him. One of my few times I really liked Hogan. I'm like, I was so happy he helped out Savage, even though you knew Hogan was going to be a dirtbag and go after his woman and lust after Elizabeth. Here it was all happiness. Savage was like, thank you, man. Hope you don't want a title shot because I don't want to give you one until maybe next year. Give it to Elizabeth. That's who deserves it. Make that person number 5 to now hold the Winged Eagle title, Miss Elizabeth. Maybe that's why I like that title so much, because she's carrying it and it looks great on her. Looks just as good as her as it did on Brett. That's a good spot. That's a good shot of Hogan pointing like that. I love that. No, there's a Macho Man finger found its way into the ring. He's got lust in his eyes. But yeah, this was one of the epic moments of my childhood, and it really tied everything together, and it made everything okay, because I was really uneasy after Hogan dropped the belt to Andre, and I didn't know what the hell, and this made it okay, you know, because I was really pissed off at DiBiase and Andre and what they've done to the title situation, and once I kind of saw what they were doing, and then I was like, oh, yeah. And it was smart. It was a way for WWE to get the belt from one babyface to another. I mean, it was there. I mean, they've done this so many times before in the past, but they just used an interesting way to transition. You know, Ivan Koloff and Stasiak and Iron Sheik and guys like that transitioned usually from one babyface to another. But this time, DiBiase would have been that guy, but instead, they did the whole tournament thing to figure this out, and it was an interesting booking direction, but it was a memorable one. And even though that WrestleMania doesn't really rank high on everyone's list, it ranks high on mine. Excuse me. One of my favorite WrestleManias ever, because it produced one of my favorite memories ever of Macho Man getting crowned and getting to experience his journey through the championship tournament, and of course, all 4 outfits of Miss Elizabeth. Good stuff. Well, thanks for being here, guys. What a night. We did 2 watch-alongs today. If you were a member, you were here earlier with us when we watched WCW Nitro from, I'm sorry, I was trying to shut my timer off, from August 4th, 1997, when Lex Luger won the title. We took an hour break. We came back, and we've been here for the last 3.5 hours watching WrestleMania 4. So it's been a long night of wrestling watching over here. Thanks for being here, everyone. I really appreciate it. I'm not sure about the channel content. I know there's going to be nothing tomorrow night for Raw, no watch-along or review planned. Should be here for Dynamite, but I might not. We'll be here for the podcast, of course, and then no watch-along next week because it's Super Bowl. So something will be hitting the channel. I'm working on stuff. I got stuff to do. We'll have something up on there for you this week. Just not sure exactly how the schedule is going to look, so make sure you stay tuned, stay subscribed, and make sure you follow me over there on the socials, and I would appreciate it. Thanks again, everyone. Thanks for a great Sunday. Always fun spending time and watching this stuff with you guys. Had a blast.